Dread it, run from it, destiny still arrives.
It's the Editor's Note Comics Podcast 100th episode extravaganza.
I'm very poppin', y'all.
Central Maine's best comics podcast. By default.
I admire that. I've got a few secrets of my own.
And now for the 100th time, your hosts, Zach and Jared.
Got a suit? Suit up.
I am Mary Poppins, y'all.
Listen, I did some math. This is also my 100th episode because...
Happy 98 episodes.
No, because I was on the news segment for the two I missed.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was.
No.
I remember very distinctly recording news segments.
No, there's one I did solo, and there's one you weren't here for.
Oh, whatever.
Me talking to myself.
Well,
I did 5 minutes of news
That's
solo.
Mostly what this show is on a week-to-week basis anyway.
Happy 98 episodes.
Happy 100 episodes
to me.
to you dirty
To me.
bastard. You filthy pig.
You know what's really... So, this is our one-off intro, which I appreciate.
Yes.
But in the email, which you apparently didn't read, that you were included on...
I looked at my email. It must have gone to spam or something. I did not have it in my email.
He's like, hey, I'm like 4 episodes behind. Hope you haven't asked me for any themes recently. And I was like, are you trolling me? Because we asked for a thing like 2 episodes ago.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like he's minorly trolling me.
A little bit.
Just me.
I like it, though. Thank you, sound guy. Wow, 100 episodes.
Well, he's also the only person who's been very insistent. He's like, I'm going to be on your... He's like, I'm going to be on the Infinity War episode.
Wow.
You've earned that, right?
Okay.
You've literally put money into the show and received nothing. I guess you can be on it.
No, wait a minute. He has not received nothing. He's received 100 hours of quality content. Well, no, if you do... what's
It's about 100 hours.
Yeah, but we say 5 good minutes a show. So
Are you doing
it's 500 minutes. So he's gotten 500 minutes of quality content from us.
And a lot of crap.
That's almost 10 hours of good stuff.
I mean, we're, basically Adam Carolla now, right? We're that funny, that successful. This episode brought to you by Netflix. Watch, what was that Cloverfield one that's not supposed to be very good? Watch the bad Cloverfield movie on Netflix.
Are we sponsored now?
No.
Are you just making that up?
No, Netflix gave us no money.
Oh, I give them like $11 a month.
Yeah. Alright, so talking about that, let's dive into our themeless segment, Jared's Sports Reports.
Oh, yeah. The Olympics are happening. That's a thing. There was a doping scandal with a Russian curler.
What a dumb thing to be caught for.
What are you...
Doping for curling.
What? I mean, was he drunk? I mean, that might be like... I don't understand. Why do you need to dope for curling? Like, curling is like anybody can do that. Everybody in their life has curled at some point.
Anyone can sweep.
Have you had ice? Have you had ice and you just threw like a rock on it to see how far the rock would slide? You've curled, okay? You have curled in your lifetime.
I would say this stuff, like especially around the Olympics, so like just show an average like Joe doing these sports, and you'd see how truly basic this is. Like, show me just some fat jackass from Nebraska sweeping, and I've seen curling.
Well, that's what Bill Murray said. He said we should, in every Olympic event, you should have an average person just for reference as to like how amazing these athletes are.
Curling would be fine. You could do that. It would be basically the same.
Yes. It's like the same people who do archery.
I'm throwing shade at curling. Taking a stand.
I like curling. I enjoy watching curling.
It's really stupid. They're sweeping.
I bet if I said, hey, Zach, want to go curling? It involves drinking. You'd be like, okay, when are we going?
Like, do I have to do the curling?
Yes.
I can sweep on my own time.
You could be the guy, you could be the rock slider.
I can also throw rocks on my own time.
Yeah, but you can't do both at the same time in a specially designed
I can drink and throw rocks. Watch me.
No, that's how
We're going outside.
Oh, wow. Taking the show on the road.
It's our first morning show ever.
Yeah, this is weird. It's light out. There's coffee.
It's unpleasant.
Let's see what else. Oh, the Red Sox signed J.D. Martinez. That's a big deal.
Okay.
And what other news? Oh, it was on this day, Tuesday, the 20th of February. Back in the day, as they would say, that the Patriots selected their name as the Patriots. It was a fan suggestion. They had kind of like a regional fan thing, and a fan said, well, we should be the New England Patriots. And the rest is history.
It's kind of like in the Fantastic Four when they took a bunch of name suggestions from the letter pages.
Oh.
How did Alicia Marsters get her last name? Letter pages. There's another example of that I can't think of off the top of my head. Letter pages.
This is Jared's sports segment, not Zach's comic book history segment.
Not the letters pages.
It's not the letters pages.
Let's get a segment called the letters pages. Look, we already have letters to the editors. How can we make the letters pages?
I think that's the same segment.
Damn
actually.
it. Okay.
Yeah, now you can't change it. We are letters to the editor. That's the end of the...
That was your suggestion.
It was a good suggestion.
I'm so glad that you're proud of yourself.
It's been a mainstay of the show. Well, you get to be proud of yourself every week. Why can't I be proud of myself like once every 100 episodes?
So, if you are here for our Jim Lawson interview, You're probably not listening anymore. It's been like 5 minutes. I will throw a time code for that in the episode description in case that's all you're here for.
But we hope you stay for the rest of the fun and frivolity.
Yeah, you son of a bitch.
What? Now they're not going to stay at all.
I just want to picture someone in their car, looking at their phone, hitting pause, and then getting into an accident because they were looking at their phone.
You're a real jerk. I don't know if I like mornings, Zach.
This is a life-ending show. Let's do the news.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
It's time for the news.
There was a stinger there. I don't know if you know that after 100 episodes.
We had this discussion as to what is a stinger and what's a bumper last week.
Let's get political. Not that political.
Oh.
Minorly political. And by minorly, I mean mentioning a thing that's happening. Congressman John Lewis is doing a sequel to his comic series March, which we did on the show.
We did,
did
yes.
book 1 of 3. His next series is going to be called Run. And it's basically going to be like his decision to run for Congress and the pitfalls and difficulties surrounding that. You know, being a black man in America and all of that. Run to your local comic shop and pick up Run.
Ooh, that was bad.
Yeah, whatever. I took a serious topic and I made a pun.
That made it, like, doubly bad.
Why not?
Well, I could think of a lot of reasons as to why not.
I mean, March received insane acclaim at the time, still sells really well. I can totally understand trying to do a sequel of the book. I'm sure it has nothing to do with anything in our current climate. Nothing at all.
Zero.
Speaking of comics, segue.
Good segue.
Bad segue.
Not really any segue at all.
There's going to be another Lando Calrissian series coming in the Star Wars comics called Lando, Double or Nothing. It's going to be essentially a tie-in book for the upcoming movie Solo, the Solo Han Solo story.
And this is how he loses the Falcon. Double or nothing on the Falcon. Lost it.
I don't know. They just say it's going to take place essentially before that movie.
Orlando, I'm going to double-cross my friends.
Orlando, I have a weird relationship with the robot man that I control through Apple Watch.
He was ahead of his time, that Lando Calrissian.
He was.
He was ahead of his time a long time ago.
In a galaxy kind of over there.
That's far, far away.
Okay, my mistake. You know what's coming up, baby?
St. Patrick's Day?
Oh, we got a show for that.
Ooh, yes.
I picked...
Are we going to watch The Leprechaun?
No, we're going to do when Iron Man was a drunk. That's our St. Patrick's Day show.
Oh, I like it.
You want to see Iron Man fly a suit drunk? It's hilarious. That's our St. Patrick's Day show. Spoilers, I guess, for St. Patrick's Day.
If we're still around.
Yeah. No, there's a wedding coming up in X-Men. We've talked about it. Colossus and Kitty Pryde, they're getting married. And what's happening with that? A wedding special. And what's happening in that wedding special? 17-year X-Men scribe Chris Claremont is coming back for it. If you like anything about the X-Men, Claremont's the guy that did it.
So here's what's going to happen. So they're going to have the wedding, and then it's going to get ruined by some evil man or woman or thing.
It's going to get raunchy.
You think it's going to get raunchy?
Oh, it's not just the wedding special. It's the wedding night special. We're going to see Claremont's take on it.
Oh.
So sad that I was thinking about doing that same thing. I chose not to. I thought it was a little weird.
Oh, I'm glad we didn't. That would have been weird. It would have been as awkward as the time we both said "my man" together.
It's like you're my wife.
No.
You're the woman here.
What?
Yeah.
How the hell am I the woman?
Chris Claremont's back, baby.
I'm not the woman in this relationship.
Claremont's back, which is exciting. Claremont's written arguably the best comics of all time. So getting him back to do a series is fun. He stopped by my table once at a show. Like, hello, sir.
Good story.
That's about all there is to it. He came over, looked at the thing, made a joke, and left. I was like, good times. Good times, Claremont.
Was the thing he looked at you? Was the thing he made fun of you?
It was his own work.
Oh, that's not nearly as cool of a story.
And the pricing on it.
Oh, they say it was overpriced or underpriced?
The joke was that it was overpriced. It really wasn't that pricey. It was like $11 or something. Whatever. Moving on. That fell flat. Have you been waiting for a conclusion to Jonathan Hickman and Dustin Weaver's 2010 S.H.I.E.L.D. run?
With bated breath?
No, me either. Forgot that was a thing, to be honest.
I didn't even know it was a thing, period.
Jonathan Hickman, for about 5 years, Marvel's golden boy until he left a couple of years ago, just because, you know, everyone leaves Marvel eventually. Kind of true, kind of true.
No, you don't stay at one place forever.
Then everyone goes to DC. That happens a lot.
How's that working out for DC?
For the last 40 years, traditionally, well, they're like, hey, Marvel's not treating you right, come on over. Across the street, we got things. Not benefits, but things.
Oh, well, things are good. Are they shiny things?
Hope you don't like health insurance, because we don't have that either.
Oh, well.
Hope you're married to someone with it. No, really, no one in comics has any benefits. It is a terrible, terrible medium.
Yeah, you help feed the cycle. You help the corporate overlords by pushing their product.
Yeah, in 2010, there was a S.H.I.E.L.D. It's supposed to be a 6-part series by Jonathan Hickman and Dustin Weaver. It ended at issue 4. 8 years later, waiting with bated breath. This happens from time to time where you'll get the conclusion of an arc that was dropped. S.H.I.E.L.D. will be coming to an end. But just in case you don't remember the first 4 issues, because, I don't, they will be releasing the first 4 in kind of a oversized collection and then releasing the last 2 issues. And apparently there's a big legal thing around this, but, yay! Jonathan Hickman's good, though. We haven't done any of his work on the show, but he's a very good writer. Very sassy. He's never been quiet about his displeasure with Marvel.
Oh, so he'd fall in line with us because we're both very sassy.
Yeah, but he's more articulate.
Well, it doesn't take much.
No, a butt-chugging swine could be more articulate than us.
Wow, that's...
Bringing butt-chugging back.
Why? Why would you do that?
Do you remember? What a stupid idea. Don't butt-chug, kids.
Yeah, I don't...
If you don't know what it is, look it up. I'm not going to tell you. Are you sad now?
I'm not thirsty for my coffee anymore.
What's in your coffee? Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Just coffee.
Yeah, coffee with creamer.
And nothing else.
It was made with love, wasn't it?
Let's gab about Bendis for a minute, because that's a weekly segment.
Oh.
For some reason, we can't get away from Brian Michael Bendis.
We're on a break. We're on a Brian Michael Bender.
Oh, boy.
The Bendis Bender, baby. Woo!
It's not intentional. There's a news story about him every week. I'm not doing it on purpose.
I think you have a man crush.
He's a good writer.
Okay, so what's the latest on...
So Bendis...
MBB. You down with MBB?
Yeah, you know me. Before leaving Marvel forever, now that he's at DC, leaving his 17-year job, Marvel offered Brian Michael Bendis, Wolverine, and Deadpool to stay and try and block the DC deal. They're like, hey, you want to do some of our bigger characters? You got him, baby. You got him. You can do Wolverine. You want to do Wolverine? We give you Wolverine. You want to do Deadpool? We'll give you Deadpool. And he's like, I'm going to do Superman.
Okay.
Da, 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 da. And then he left. And that was Gabbing About Bendis. That segment we do every week for some reason.
I don't know. You must have you're probably the curator of the Michael Brian Bendis.
Brian Michael Bendis, you said it backwards.
Oh, BMB, whatever.
BMB.
You're probably the curator of bmbfans.com.org.
It's not my fault. I'm not making the news. I'm reporting the news.
Well, you can also just
skip the Bendis story next week. I'll skip the Bendis story.
Yeah, unless something huge is happening.
For some reason, he's just always in the news. Action Comics Special #1, coming out around the same time as Action Comics 1000, is going to kill a famous Superman villain.
Lex?
Yeah, that'd be the one.
Thanks.
Supposedly.
Thanks for ruining it for me.
It's called, the last will and testament of Lex Luthor, so let's go out on a limb there.
Yeah, makes sense.
He's died before, and then he, cloned himself, and he was his own son. And
How can you clone yourself if
I wasn't done! He was Australian, and he had red hair, and he dated Supergirl, even though it wasn't really Supergirl.
Wow, you got really animated about that.
I forget what she was. She was some kind of, I don't know, it was the 90s.
Lots of things happened in the 90s.
She could shape change. It was a thing.
Was she listening to, Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette and shaving her head?
It wasn't, no, that was the later 90s.
Oh, so Sinead O'Connor kind of...
She didn't know what to do with herself in the early 90s.
Did any of us, really?
There was no Morissette to really dive into. That was really the summer of 96.
Was she an Alanis Morissette fan or a Jewel fan?
I really hope I got that year right. Is that when Johnny Little Pill came out in 96? Don't do it!
I'm fact-checking the show.
I knew you were going to.
Well, it's the 100th episode. We have to, for accuracy, and to know that we are on point.
I did get actually to this week. I was like, yeah. I was hoping no one was going to notice it. I slipped up last week.
Did you really?
Yeah, I said the, Uncanny X-Men number 143 was Kitty Pryde's first appearance. That was just a one-shot story featuring Kitty. Her real one was, number 129, and I got actually.
Oh, wow. Well, actually...
damn it.
It came out June 13th, 1995.
I was off by a year.
Price is Right rules. You went over.
I lost. You know what? Show over. Forever.
She actually had 2 albums that year. She also put out the album Space Cakes in the same year. Oh, it was only released only in Japan.
I guess that's why I don't remember it. Alright, next bit of news. No, we're moving on.
There were 6 really good singles off that album, but you had You Ought to Know, Hand in My Pocket, and Ironic, which Ironic isn't ironic. There's no irony in Ironic. It's just a series of really poor timed events. Anyway, sorry.
It's a good song. What do you got against Ironic?
I have nothing against Ironic.
I enjoy that song.
Isn't it ironic?
I haven't heard it in a while.
Don't you think?
You know what? I don't like it anymore.
A little too ironic. It's like rain on your wedding day.
I don't like it anymore. I haven't heard it in a while. Thinking about it, I think it's a bad song.
What? Come on.
My opinion took 180 degrees.
It was #1 in Canada.
Alright. Ready Player One.
24 in Sweden. They
that
don't know any better.
upcoming Steven Spielberg movie has their final trailer out, because that comes out next month.
Are we going to watch that?
Probably. It's a Spielberg. It's his first kind of popcorn movie since 2008.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, he's been in that like historic period recently, doing like Lincoln and that horse movie.
That horse
I
movie?
forget the name of it. The one where the horse gets caught in the middle of the battlefield and everyone stops to let the horse out.
Oh, yes.
And Tom Hiddleston was in it for a second, and that is what I remember about that movie. What was that called? You don't need to fact check.
I can't remember. No.
Steven Spielberg's War Horse! War Horse! I got there!
Oh, wow. Good job.
Yeah, Ready Player One. Final trailer. Well, how do you think it compares to the book?
I haven't read the book.
I know,
I'm looking up Iron Giant right now because there's like an obvious Iron Giant looking thing in there.
Oh, there is. I mean, this book is nothing but 80s references, even though Iron Giant was the 90s.
Yeah, like late 90s, 99.
I think they have a bunch of big robots at the end of the movie, but a good chunk of them are Toho robots, like the guys who do Godzilla and all that kind of like big monster stuff in Japan. And Toho is kind of notoriously stingy with licensing out their stuff. So my guess is that they couldn't get the rights to do the Toho big robots and monsters. Which seems strange to me. Like, I was talking to someone in the store, they're like, oh, how do you think it's going to compare to the book? I'm like, it's hard for me to imagine that companies wouldn't sign off on kind of licensing out their stuff. Like, oh no, you get to use our images in the Steven Spielberg movie. You're going to pay us for our intellectual property, and then people are going to go out and buy it because it's in a Spielberg movie. Gee, where is the downside?
I don't know.
But yeah, but it looks like Toho's like, yeah, no, we're going to keep our stuff. You can't use Mechagodzilla.
You know who's in the Iron Giant?
Vin Diesel.
Yeah, fan of the show.
Wine drunk Vin Diesel.
Box of wine drunk Vin Diesel.
He gets to get a box wine. It can be a fine product.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It looks like a very large departure from the book. And it has the worst Cyclops ever. Worst of 3. That's right. The kid from X-Men Origins Wolverine was better. You haven't seen the movie. It's fine. Don't watch it. It's bad.
Good no.
Yeah, when the star of your movie is bad Cyclops, who knows?
Bad Cyclops. Did anyone like Cyclops in the first place?
The blandest Cyclops. That is a bar.
The bad, bland Cyclops. It's better than that.
We'll see. I don't know. It's Spielberg, so I'll watch it. Well, yeah, of course, it's Spielberg. It's Spielberg doing the closest thing to a comic book movie he's ever done. Guy who said that this medium was going to die like the Western a couple of years ago. Then he's like, I guess I'll do Ready Player One. Well, fine.
Westerns came back, though.
Not really.
Space Westerns did.
Yes, they did. Space Western is the new Western.
I love me some Space Western.
But yet you've never watched Firefly.
I watched the movie. I watched Serenity.
You did. I was there.
I enjoyed it.
We watched that 13 years ago.
Wow, you know, like, to the day. You probably, like, know how many hours it's been since I watched it.
I can tell you it's 13 years. I know that.
Oh, okay.
No, wait.
Longer than that.
No, it's only 12, because we watched it in the summer. The DVD came out in December, so that would make it 12 years.
Okay.
Theatrical release was September, DVD was December. So yeah, we would have watched it the summer after. So you haven't seen it in 12 years.
I'm sorry?
Let's talk money.
Ooh, yes, it's about time I got paid for this show.
Money, money. None for you.
Oh.
Black Panther, baby. No. Was that Entertainment Weekly? I think they, like, when they had the first image of Black Panther for Civil War, just said meow on it, like in a tiny speech balloon. I'm like, well, you don't have any concept of this character. Tiny meow. That's what you are. You're an out-of-touch Entertainment Weekly.
That's not that hard to do. I can't. Now all I think about is sniffing. That you said don't sniff.
Yeah, don't sniff.
I'm trying not to.
Domestic opening.
This cough you've made me has caused me to have clearer sinuses. It's opened me up a little bit.
Degrease an engine with this.
Yeah, I guess you could. Makes my eyeballs sweat.
This is the second best Sunday, which is the day we saw it, so, you're welcome, Black Panther.
It was us. We put you over the top.
Second best Sunday of all time, behind Force Awakens. Domestically, over the 4-day weekend, made $201.8 million.
Wasn't it like the highest non-holiday weekend opening ever?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I think it's like the 6th biggest opening of all time. But worldwide, so $201.8 million. That was the budget. They made it back.
Yep.
Weekend 1. Worldwide, $370.8 million.
It's a good weekend.
Yeah, they did okay.
They did very okay. And I think they're going to continue.
Surprise.
I think that Black Panther will probably stay on top for at least 3 weeks.
Yeah, second biggest Marvel opening of all time.
After Avengers, right?
Yep, yeah, they already passed Age of Ultron really fast.
Well, no surprise there.
That movie, that's like the 6th highest grossing movie of all time. Weirdly negative.
Sorry.
Yeah, $370.8 million opening weekend worldwide.
Is it the highest rated Marvel movie on Rotten Tomatoes?
I don't know.
It was for a while. Like, it had 96, 97%.
I think the last I checked, it was still at 97. Who knows what it is now?
It was a great movie. Holy cow.
We don't need to check it, but yeah, they are they've made some money.
A little bit of cash,
And
a little coin.
not just in the movie business, but thing we don't usually talk about music on this show. More music. Let's dabble in the musical world. Kendrick Lamar, curator of the Black Panther soundtrack.
Which is all explicit.
That is currently the #1 Billboard album.
Oh, yeah. Have you listened to any of it?
I mean, I was in the movie.
No, like, have you listened to the album?
The album now.
Oh, straight fire. Hot!
You couldn't be more white. It kind of hurts.
I could be more white. I get outside and get some sun. I tan up a little bit.
Yeah, so aside from, #1 movie at the box office, #1 album currently, Black Panther is all about the money, honey.
Thank you. When are you going to get a haircut, by the way?
I don't know, eventually.
I don't know about the coif on your head right now.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
I don't know what's happening. There's a lot going on there.
Until I get in front of a mirror. I'm not doing it now. This ain't a visual medium.
Dude, thank God, because people would not listen to our show at all. I just looked over and it's like, there's a lot going on
You
there.
want it to be vertical? I'll make it up. I'll just go up straight in the air. That's straight up styling.
That's a little bit better. You look a little more Hunger Gamesy now.
I'm going to paint myself like a piece of pita bread.
Okay.
But speaking of Black Panther, let's do a movie review.
Now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret. I'm always angry.
It's time for an Editor's Note podcast review.
As we do each and every time in the movie reviews, we will start with non-spoilers.
That was all the news?
It's not my fault. It was a short week.
Oh, okay. I thought it was short week. We're actually recording on a Tuesday.
I can't make up the news.
Sure
if there's no news, then I don't got to report it.
Well, I think you make up Brian Michael Bendis stories.
I'm all about that Brian Michael Bendis, baby.
You are. You make up those
Do we talk about his successful weight loss? He is looking svelte these days.
Oh, boy. You just wanted to use the word.
He is so healthy.
You've been waiting to use the word svelte for 2 weeks.
I got a time where I can use it later, too, but in an insulting way.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Towards a certain world leader. Maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't.
Ooh, Forrest Whitaker in his role.
No, he looks fine.
He looks very
He's also not a world leader.
No, he was just the royal advisor, maybe? I don't know.
I'll give you a hint. It's our second fattest president after Taft.
Oh, thank you. Moving on.
Sorry. Actually, I'm not. It's 100 episodes, and I don't like the guy. Act surprised.
Oh, it only took you 100 episodes to really let that go.
You know what? Not a fan. But something I am a fan of.
Black Panther.
Yeah, baby. Please stop. Yeah, like I said, we're going to start with non-spoilers. And I think the thing that surprised me most, and Marvel just continues to do this, of like, I feel like they're throwing a little bit of shade towards the fans. Like, we don't care about the timeline. We're going to do what we want. This takes place a week after Civil War. They say that.
It felt like it was longer than a week after Civil War.
No, they literally said it was last week in the movie. I know you showed up a minute late to the theater, but they did say it was literally a week later.
Well, no, I was there by that time.
Yeah, no, they said like last week with Baron Zemo being arrested and yada yada, and all the heroes fighting each other. I was like, huh. I kind of thought they had gotten away from that. Like, you know what? Like, when it comes out is essentially when it comes out. They're like, you know what? Guardians 2 takes place a couple months after Guardians 1. Spider-Man is a few years earlier or later. I don't remember now. I'd have to go look at it. Black Panther is before all those, like, last 5 movies you've watched. Thor's a couple months after Civil War. They don't care. They don't care.
Nope. They don't.
In all fairness, they're good movies, so I don't really care either.
Yeah, I don't. It's irrelevant. The pieces just fit in together.
It's just going to affect my rewatching. I got to figure it out chronologically.
Well, good luck on that.
Yeah. In a couple of months, I think I was going to start a full Marvel rewatch.
Really?
Full.
Wow. Starting with Iron Man.
No, starting with
Captain America.
I'm going back. Yeah. I got to do like Agent Carter and all that. Yeah, I'm going to.
Wow.
A few months from now, it's going to take me like a year and a half to do.
So it would be Captain America, and then it would be Iron Man.
Yeah, well, it would be Captain America, then the Agent Carter one-shot that was on one of the Blu-rays. I don't remember which one now. And then 2 seasons of Agent Carter, and then Iron Man, and then I'm not going to go through it.
Are you including like TV shows?
Oh, I said full.
Do you not have a life?
It's going to take me a long time to do.
I would think so, yes.
It's going to be very economical. I don't need to spend any money on entertainment for like 2 years.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. I'm also I'm able to do that in a couple of months. I'm watching a couple of things right now. When I get through those, then I'll do that.
The problem is as you do this chronological rewatch, things are going to come out during that time.
I know. Well, it's, it doesn't matter. I can't be like, I can't see that because I'm not up to it chronologically. I'll catch it, then I'll catch it again when I catch up to it.
Wow.
Unrelated. That's not why we're here. Black Panther happens a week after Civil War. That was the point.
Yes.
What did you think about the movie?
I enjoyed the hell out of it, man. It was a visually stunning movie. I liked the cinematography a lot. I thought the special effects were great. I love the...
peg you a little on that one, but I'm with you so far.
Whoa.
Oh, I'm not going to peg you, but you know what I mean.
I'm out. I know this is a special show, but no thanks. No, I really liked a lot of the special effects. Although I will say the sandbox art kind of things, like where they like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's kind of felt like it was lifted a little bit from like Man of Steel with the Kryptonian stuff, but I enjoyed it. I liked the story. I thought it was
like that nail thing from the 90s where you put your hand into it and you get an impression of a hand.
Yes. Those things are cool.
Stung a little. What with the nails?
Well, they weren't like nails. They were like flat ended.
I agree with you on like the color palette. I'm a big fan of this kind of shift that Marvel's making. We saw a bit in the two Guardians movies and Thor Ragnarok and now in Black Panther of having like a colorful palette. Like if you look at basically the rest of the Marvel movies, they're kind of gray. Their color is gray.
This one was vibrant.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. I really like that choice. It makes it pop that much more. It makes it stand out, and I can revisit it in like my brain of like, oh, here's the thing I liked, and the first thing I see is like what was kind of the color palette of that scene.
We actually have a really decent villain in this one.
Yeah,
that the best part about it is like it doesn't affect anything else in the timeline. Like this movie's a great movie. Like it stands alone. You don't need any other.
No. I mean, you can walk into this seeing every other Marvel movie, know what's going on, or you can walk into it seeing none of them, and I don't think you'll be lost.
No, I don't think you'll be lost either.
I think this
it's a nice different take on an origin story.
One of the best villains we've seen, definitely. Like, for Marvel villains, it's like Loki, and then the TV shows have done pretty good with Kingpin and the Purple Man. Weird that the Purple Man was good, but he was. And yeah, then Killmonger, Michael B. Jordan, and also Ulysses Claw. Two solid villains.
Oh, I loved Ulysses Claw.
I love them.
He was it was a great job by Andy Serkis. He was phenomenal.
Well, they're both Michael B. Jordan and Andy Serkis. I can't think of a bad performance of theirs that I've seen. Like even Michael B. Jordan in that terrible Fantastic Four movie was like, well, he was good. We haven't seen, or you haven't seen that. Maybe we'll watch it eventually because it is hysterically terrible.
Even worse than the other, like...
The worst. We saw the best Fantastic Four movie.
That's incredible that we've seen the best Fantastic Four movie.
Well, no, The Incredibles is the best Fantastic Four movie, but for, namesake, yes, we have seen the best one. That unreleased one. Somehow the best. But even though that last one, like, yeah, at least Michael B. Jordan was in it.
True.
And that is the end of the compliments I have for that movie. It's truly one of the worst movies I've ever seen, but hysterically bad. Like, you don't get that kind of bad anymore.
Like, campy bad?
Like, the studio notes on that are so bad, they punch you in the face and then give you a little kiss on the forehead to let you know how much they're involved.
Wow.
I'm sure it would have been bad either way, but still. Have you ever seen a woman walk through a door and come out wearing a different wig that was about... 50 shades different from her hair in the last doorway?
Can't say I've ever seen a woman walk through a door.
She opened it, so I think you've seen that.
Oh, I thought you meant like she matriculated through the door with special powers.
That'd be Kitty Pryde, but so yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's literally not even scene to scene different, like shot to shot. You're like, reshoots! Not talking about that movie, it's terrible and hilarious.
We're talking about a very good movie.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about Michael B. Jordan and Ulysses Claw. Yeah, yes. Both solid villains. They're both such good actors, and I just want to see more of them. It is a rare Marvel movie where I'm like, we didn't get enough villain.
Well, there's a problem with that now, though.
Yeah.
Which we'll discuss later on in the spoiler part.
But boy, speaking as, a white man from Maine, I totally bought Michael B. Jordan's motivation.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he lays it out, and it's
like a multi-layered motivation, too.
I thought it walked this really great line of being politicized, but also being generic enough that it was accessible.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think it was...
I don't know if I'm describing that quite the way I mean it to, but it was a very specific thing while still being broad enough where you could go, okay.
Yeah, I get why he's mad.
Yeah, 100%. As a white guy, I get it.
But his motivation makes sense. You get why he's mad. And he's like multi-layered anger.
And he is jacked as all hell.
Oh my god.
He's not quite Creed jacked, but he's still pretty damn jacked.
He's pumped. You know what we didn't talk about in the news? Which we should have, speaking of Creed? The Sylvester Stallone death hoax yesterday.
There's been a lot of those. Mark Hamill had one.
I like Mark Hamill. He posted a picture of himself with his year he was born in this year. It said, still alive.
Even Black Panther had a lot of false tweets around it, which I wasn't going to bring up, but I guess I will slightly. Because if you're doing it, eat a bag of there's a bunch of, I shouldn't say a bunch, there are some people who have been receiving a lot of retweets saying, like, I went to go see Black Panther, and then, like, a black teenager assaulted me or my girlfriend or something, and, like, throwing up pictures of real assaults and claiming them as their own. Don't do that.
That's kind of low.
Don't be the worst. And even one of them was, like that, who's the guy on the Trump team who beat his wife and she threw the pictures up there. Like, people are using that photo saying, like, look at my beat up girlfriend. I'm like, this was just in the news.
You have to be more specific about the Trump thing.
God damn. Yeah, don't do that. And don't retweet stuff like that. Double check what you're retweeting, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the power of social media.
That kind of took a weird
Let's go back
turn.
to talking about the greatness that is the Black Panther.
Michael B. Jordan was jacked.
He was massive.
He's a handsome man and a very good actor. I even felt like Chadwick Boseman, the guy who plays T'Challa, I'm like, he's in shape. And then Michael B. Jordan came on the scene. I'm like, oh
wow.
He's more in shape.
His muscles have
I feel
muscles.
like that's the Marvel formula. Like, whenever someone takes off their shirt and everyone goes like, yeah, that was...
And he's not
that was Michael B. Jordan.
He's not the main hero either.
He's not really a hero. He's more of a...
He's not the main guy that you're supposed to be, like, oogling over.
Yeah, he's great. I was a little curious how they were going to handle, like, everyone has an African accent except for him. And I thought it was dealt with very well. They explained it. His backstory is perfect. What's weird is they show a flashback to him in the 90s, and this is Ryan Coogler, the guy who directed Creed and Fruitvale Station. He's worked with Michael B. Jordan twice before. He's done 3 movies. They've all had Michael B. Jordan. But in Creed, we had a flashback at the beginning of the movie with, like, a little kid.
Yeah.
And we have a flashback of Michael B. Jordan of roughly the same age. I was like, is it the same kid?
No.
Just get the same kid.
That would be great if they had.
I thought that would have been funny.
It wasn't the same kid.
No, it wasn't. It was a different kid. Like, what was wrong with him? We already had a young Michael B. Jordan, roughly the age that you need him to be. I thought he did fine in Creed.
Yeah, but that was a couple years ago now.
Yeah, but still. The kid could have, like, pulled off 1993 Michael B. Jordan.
Maybe. Possibly.
Whatever. It's a nothing thing, really. But I was like, is it the same kid? No, it's not. We do get some connections in the movie, which I think are interesting, with T'Chaka, Black Panther's father. In the flashback that we see in the 90s of him, it's the actor's real-life son playing the younger version of him, which I think is interesting.
That's very cool.
And he also looks kind of like Chadwick Boseman a bit. Like, they have a very similar build.
A little bit, yeah.
You mentioned the effects. You liked the effects?
I liked some of the effects, yeah.
Yeah, I'll stand with some of them. It's a little rubber suity, like bouncing about, no real gravity to a bit of it.
I get that.
Which is really my biggest criticism of the movie.
You have to admit, though, the Korean car chase was pretty damn good.
Yeah, I did like that a lot. In the good Korea.
Yes.
This is the political show.
The South Korea.
But if I have any criticism of the movie as a whole, and this is an impossibly high bar that I set for myself, so I really can't blame the movie. When we saw Creed, we saw a style of, like, fight choreography we hadn't really ever seen in a boxing movie. So in my mind, I'm like, Ryan Coogler has delivered to me action that I've never seen before. He's going to do that again. And then the action was, kind of stuff I had seen, good, but stuff I'd seen before that I was like, oh man, it wasn't entirely new to me. Then I was thinking about it, I'm like, what a weirdly high bar to set. It's fine.
But you were still giggling and cheering with delight.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I did really enjoy the movie, but my bar was, show me something I've never seen before, and it was very good, and I was like, but I've seen it.
I'm going to make an argument that there was something in there that we had never seen before, and you went, oh, wow.
What was that?
The rhinoceroses?
They looked a little fake.
No, but they were clad in vibranium.
I did like them, no question. They just looked like they could have used another week's worth of rendering.
Yes, but still, when they came out and you saw the rhinoceros with the vibranium on, you go, oh, wow.
That is something the movie, I guess minor spoilers for what we're talking about. I thought the movie structurally did a very good job of just showing things, or, like, they set things up without, well, there's one thing they kind of explicitly set up for the final fight scene. But for the most part, they did a very good job of just showing you a thing and not really mentioning it, and then it would come back around later.
Your favorite thing, show, don't tell?
Yeah, I mean, they would just show you a thing, and then you go, oh, that's neat. And then you forget about it for an hour, and then it would come back. You're like, oh my god, you set it up! Except for this one thing, I'll just say it, where they're like, this disrupts vibranium. I'm like, okay, cool, you're coming back in the third act.
Yeah, that was like,
aside from that was a little ham-fisted.
Or that we're not going to help you.
Yeah.
Knowing full well that they would show up to help you.
Yeah. Cast-wise, everyone's amazing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think the find of this movie, because I don't know if I've seen her or anything, I should have written down the actress's name. The woman who played Shuri, who is Black Panther's sister, and kind of this movie's Q.
Yeah, she was really cool.
Star Trek Q, Bond Q.
I love that you have to, like...
clarify my Qs.
Yes. Mind your P's and Q's.
For me, she was kind of the show stealer.
Yes.
As a whole, because there's like certain scenes, like some people like totally just train roll a scene. Andy Serkis singing that song from what's the name of that?
Night at the Roxbury.
Yeah, doing that song.
Baby Don't Hurt Me.
Just randomly singing. That was kind of a terrible and show stealing moment in his weird South African accent.
I liked it.
But for me, the actress who played Shuri was kind of the show stealer and kind of the breakout star of this movie.
She was good. You know who I think was really, really good in this movie, and like we haven't even mentioned him yet, was Martin Freeman.
Yeah, he was. He was solid.
I liked him in this movie.
It's not this movie's fault, but whenever I see a movie and I'm like, why did you make him American? Just let him use his British accent is always my reaction. I did the same thing with Doctor Strange. I'm like, why is it better to Cumberbatch just British? It's fine.
But you know what?
He could be a British doctor working in America.
His American accent isn't bad.
No, it's solid. He's really good. He's a great actor.
You know what was... I kind of like left the theater thinking about it too with him. He's kind of become the Agent Coulson here of Phase 3.
Yeah, so I guess he has to die and then get a spin-off TV show.
He already's on a TV show though.
A couple of them.
Yeah, he's kind of busy. He has no room for work.
He's absolutely solid, and I like the usage they have of him. Like, he's not like really taking control of any scene. He's kind of rolling with it and using his expertise when he has it. And I think he might show up in Captain Marvel, would be my guess, because they make a big deal about him being a fighter pilot, and Captain Marvel is very tied into the Air Force, so I bet he's going to be in that movie.
Yeah. Well, what's his contract? How many pictures?
I don't know what his contract is. They used up one movie for one actor's contract in this that kind of surprised me. Like, there goes a movie. Someone with a 9-picture deal who doesn't have one movie less. Post-credit scene.
Oh.
Yeah, he has 9, and they used up one in this. I was like, huh.
That counts as a... Wow.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's, Samuel L. Jackson, he had a 9-picture deal in the beginning, and he burned through that with cameos, yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
So I guess it's not Samuel L. Jackson is the point that I'm making here.
Yeah.
In driving back, and I felt like kind of an idiot for not recognizing this, but my wife pointed it out to me. The Dora Milaje, Black Panther's guards, and kind of the military of Wakanda, I feel so stupid for not realizing it. I just kind of accepted it because I'm used to them from the books. But there's no reference made of like, they're women, but they're strong women. They're just there, and they're badass.
Oh, they kick ass, 100%.
And it never clicked in my brain. I just kind of accepted it, and I felt like an idiot for not realizing that what they were doing by not saying anything, I felt really stupid for not recognizing that.
No, I think that
they kicked a lot of ass, and it's
Well, I think it was
actress who plays Michonne on The Walking Dead, terrible TV show, don't watch it, it's bad and depressing. But she kicked a lot of ass.
I don't think you should feel like an idiot for it. It's just that the movie said, yeah, these are badass women kicking major ass. We don't need to say anything. They're doing it for themselves. They're showing you how badass they are. They're like, oh, look at these warrior women. Aren't they so great? It's just like...
I just feel like I should recognize stuff when it's happening. But,
no, I mean...
it's my own shortcoming.
No, but like, as it was happening, I was like, this is significant in a lot of ways. You have, this movie was significant culturally, I think, for us in a lot of ways. It's the first real superhero movie that I'm aware of that, 98% of the cast was African American. And they broke down every single stereotype.
Well, there's stuff that happens. People are like, "There's been black superhero movies before. Look at Blade." That came out in 1998. Don't look at Blade. You shouldn't have to look back to the 90s to make a point.
Yeah, and okay, so Blade also
Wesley Snipes is also insane.
Totally different than this. Blade is a vampire movie, not a superhero movie.
Blade's a Marvel movie.
I get that, but still, Blade is.
I feel like you're trying to just cover your tracks now.
Wrestler Triple H was in Blade, okay?
And
there's some reference and reasoning point right there.
Marvel's had Luke Cage, which is fine.
I'm not saying this is the first. Well, no, people aren't saying this is the first African American superhero movie.
What about Catwoman? What a great. No, I can't even get through that sentence.
This was so steeped in African American and African culture compared to any other movie where the lead has been an African American superhero, and I think that's a huge step forward culturally.
Want to take a stab in the dark at how old Chadwick Boseman is?
He's got to be 37.
You're closer than I would have been.
How old is he?
41.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
The only reason I guessed high is because you're like, guess how old he is.
I would have said 30. No, he's 41.
He kicked ass for being 41 in that movie.
Yeah, I've with the exception of Civil War, I think I've only seen him in 4 movies. I saw him in, 42. That was the Jackie Robinson's biopic. And I saw him in the James Brown biopic. And then I saw him in the Black Panther biopic. That last one's, not really a biopic. You didn't pick up on it. And Civil War. But basically everything I've seen him in, he's been the leading man.
Yeah.
And he's really good.
He's very, very good in this.
I like that he can have moments, if they don't have a lot of funny moments with him, but he can have very light moments and then bring a lot of gravitas to other scenes.
Yeah.
I guess the word I'm looking for is comfortable. It's a very naturalistic performance. I buy everything. I never looked at that and be like, that's an actor. Where you sometimes see that. He was playing the role very naturally.
You know what I liked about this movie is they didn't have comedy for comedy's sake in it.
Yeah, that's kind of a nice break because we got that a lot with Guardians and Thor. There's a lot of yuck kind of moments.
We're gonna have a knee slapper here.
Yeah.
There were moments that made me chuckle, but it wasn't
There are also a couple of moments where they tried to make jokes that made me cringe hard.
That's saying something. Making you cringe is incredible.
Oh, God. Referencing a few years old meme. Yeah, that one kind of... I'll just say it was the what are those thing. They point at shoes and yell, what are those? And I just recoiled oh, didn't need that.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said in the theater. You're like, oh, why?
Yeah, I don't need the reminder of the what are those meme. Oh, God.
I ignored it and moved on.
That was nails on a chalkboard. There was a second moment, and when I was doing my notes, I couldn't remember what it was, and I'm sure in the rewatch I'll be like, oh yeah, that was it. But there was a second moment that was very similar to that, where I was just like, no, that's not... Ugh. But I couldn't remember what it was when I was writing down my notes, and didn't bother looking it up.
Fair.
But yeah, but aside from 2 moments of cringeworthiness, one of which I can't remember, solid. And, not forcing jokes, but just being a solid movie. And the movie works really well for being, not world-ending kind of stuff.
No, it was very good.
So I think it, compared to Spider-Man Homecoming that happened last year, one of kind of my bigger criticisms of the movie is that it tries to say small, but for me it felt a little too small, where this is small and contained, but it still feels like there's a necessary kind of gravity to everything that's happening. So I feel like it accomplished what Spider-Man Homecoming didn't in the attempt to say on a smaller scale.
Mm-hmm. I kind of thought for a while watching the movie that the Soul Gem was going to come through.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's coming up. That's a letter.
Oh,
it's a letter.
All right.
And Lego kind of spoiled where it is. Don't look at Lego toys. Anything that's coming up for Lego, don't look at it. It spoils a lot.
Oh, please don't tell me.
I was going to.
Oh, okay.
It's in a Lego toy set if you want to know.
Oh, okay.
But, if you don't look at Lego toys.
All right.
Lego spoils a lot.
Well, they just want to get their toys out.
Yeah. I guess that's it for non-spoilers. I feel like we covered a lot of it.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. Go see it. It's...
On our patented review scale.
Yeah.
See it in theaters, red box it or don't bother. What do you do?
I'd see it in theaters.
I'd love to see it in IMAX.
Yeah, totally. It's a very colorful, very visually interesting movie. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, it's solid as all hell.
Yeah.
I wouldn't...
It was fun.
I've seen a lot of people like, this is the best Marvel movie since The Avengers. I wouldn't say that, but it's really good.
What's been okay, so since The Avengers, what, Civil War maybe?
I mean...
Is a little bit better?
I'd put it... Let's go within the last year. I would put it above Spider-Man, but below Thor.
Reasonable. It's in the top 5. It's in the top 4, probably.
Of 18 movies now. It's definitely cracked the top 10 of the last 18 movies.
What, you mean Ant-Man isn't better than that?
Ant-Man is not better than this, but Ant-Man and the Wasp might be. You never know.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it.
I know you are.
Hopefully it's good.
All right, let's spoil the hell out of this thing.
That's my hope for every movie. Hopefully it's good.
Hopefully it doesn't suck.
Look out! There's spoilers ahead!
Forrest Whitaker can't live through a movie.
No, he can't.
Not a Disney movie, anyway.
No.
But you know what I liked about him in this movie?
What?
He didn't swing for the fences.
No, he's just him.
Compared to Rogue One, who's like, Jin! Take the plans, Jin! I'm gonna die on this planet and can only speak on the inhale, Jin!
I've seen you have those nights before.
Jin!
Yeah. Bring me the gin! Showed up at my door.
That was one time. That was a bad night. That was a bad night.
It was not a good night.
Let's never speak of that again.
Jin!
But, comparatively, that was my last taste of Forrest Whitaker, and I was like,
Jin! Yeah, I need gin!
That was a bit much for a performance. And this, he was just himself, and it was fine, and then he died.
Yes.
Oh, we didn't even mention it.
Death served a purpose. Did you know that, like, that I thought it was a nice little swerve that he was there? Like, he was the second spy that was sent by...
I like that. Lupita Nyong'o, we didn't mention her non-spoilers, but she is solid, and also I think her contract says I have to be in every Disney movie ever now, which is fine because she's lovely and awesome, except for her scene in Last Jedi, which felt forced and stupid. Like, oh look, she's there. That was definitely part of a contract.
Oh, okay.
Oh, but she has a jetpack, so
Yay!
that's neat. The Maz Kanata scene.
Yes.
Yeah, that was forced and stupid. Stan Lee makes his obligatory cameo while he's still alive.
That was great.
They filmed a few.
While he's still alive.
That's true. There's a reason they've pre-filmed a few of them.
Yes.
The only reason I want to bring him up is because I just started cackling at the name of his character.
Oh yeah, Drunk Gambler.
Thirsty Gambler.
Thirsty Gambler
is the official title of Stan Lee's character. I don't have a lot to say about it. I just really laughed at Thirsty Gambler.
I love how he just like popped in and took T'Challa's chips from the craps table.
One thing that I thought was interesting about this is it was kind of unclear in Civil War what the source of Black Panther's power was. Like, you knew that he was superpowered, but you weren't quite sure what it was. I wasn't sure if they were going to do the, smoke weed every day and get powers option. They did. Okay, they ate a weed. It was inedible.
Yeah, it was a drinkable.
But like, I think because we see a very distinctive shot in Civil War when T'Chaka dies, T'Challa takes a ring and he puts it on his finger, and there's this one very focused shot of the ring going on his finger. I was like, is the power in the ring? They do bring the ring back, but no.
No, the power's not in the ring.
I thought it was.
That would have made sense, but...
I mean, who'd want to do a power ring? That'd be stupid, Green Lantern.
The Flash, he also has a ring.
He does. He keeps a suit in there.
So you can't, like, judge one and embrace the other.
I do love... No, I love the ring. It's the suit inside of a ring. That's awesome. So stupid, and that's why I love it. We get possibly a couple of references. I'm not sure. I'm going to bring up some maybe references.
Ooh, okay.
With Killmonger. I'm so happy they called him Killmonger in the movie. I thought they were going to stray away from it because they mentioned a different name. They're like, also known as Killmonger. And then they just say Killmonger the rest of the movie. I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
Excellent. You're just owning into it. He gets a Black Panther suit, so we kind of get that old Marvel formula of fighting an evil version of yourself, but his has more of a leopard print on it.
Yes.
And I was curious if this was a reference to the very brief period of time where Black Panther was calling himself Black Leopard. Black Panther predates the movement of the Black Panther group, but then in the comics, for a very brief period of time, he called himself Black Leopard to disassociate himself from that. And I was curious if that was a reference with the spotted costume. Got nothing to back it up, just a thought. And then I think we get a Doctor Strange reference in there. Killmonger mentions that the first three cities when he's going to go, attack the world are going to be New York, Hong Kong, and London. We established in Doctor Strange that those are the three cities that hold the Sanctum Sanctorums. And this movie is also tied a bit to magic, so I was curious if that was he's going after these high-powered spots within this universe. Never follows it up, never says anything else, but that was kind of my reaction to it.
Yeah, because that's the first thing you said, those are the Sanctum Sanctorums.
Yes, it is. I did say that.
You did. I was there.
We get Manape in this movie, which I'm really glad they didn't call him Manape.
Yes.
Because his name is Manape, and if you're dealing with an African culture, probably don't.
But you did say in the theater, oh wow, it's Manape.
I think it's fine if you know it, but if you don't, probably for the best.
Yeah, probably. I would agree.
Because it's just a guy who dresses in an albino gorilla suit. I thought he was really good.
I liked him.
What a weirdly surprising performance. Who cares about Manape? But then it adds all of this gravitas, and also, he was threatening, but also there's a few scenes where he was kind of light and funny. What a great role.
Yes, he did a wonderful, in his little throne room where he laughs at them.
He's like, no, I'm not helping you.
Well, no, even better, he's like, I'm going to eat your children. Just kidding, we're vegetarians. He laughs for
I forgot. That was a great line, yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of just small moments in this movie that work really well.
You know what I really liked in this movie? I liked the 3 times they went to the ancestral plane.
Yeah, I forget the name of that. Whatever it's the Land of the Dead. There's a more specific name.
They're pretty much hallucinating, but still.
It's part of the books. So, there were no real departures from the lore. that I noticed. Like vibranium, like absorbing all the kinetic energy and being able to blow it back. Like that's all comic accurate stuff.
Yeah.
And going to the land of the dead and speaking with the ancestors, that's all a thing. And all the... you know what? I'm going to say there's a letter about that, so I'm not going to say it now.
All right.
But it might have to do with a future Black Panther.
Oh, okay.
Let's just talk post-credit scenes. So Bucky is there, and he's healed, which is fine. Looking jacked as hell. Weird-looking wig.
Yes.
Not a good wig.
Not a great wig.
It's a bad wig. He has a kind of a man bun wig.
But, you know.
That's, the man bun isn't what I disliked about it. He just walked on and I'm like, wig.
Yeah, but if this takes place like a couple weeks after, or a couple months after, was it a couple weeks or a couple months after Civil War?
It was a week after, which I also thought was funny.
Because they put him in cryo-freeze.
Well, they did this with Guardians 2 as well, where it's like one of the post-credit scenes is like further down the road because we see like teenage Groot. But I like to imagine that this was in real time of like, it's a week later and they defrosted him and then just healed him within a week.
It makes sense seeing what the power of the Wakandan healing was.
Yeah, vibranium can do anything apparently.
Yes.
Want to heal a spine? It'll heal a spine. Want to stop an engine on a car? It'll stop an engine on a car. Want to deflect bullets? It'll do that. It was kind of, it's very much it'll do what we needed to do.
That was funny. Ooh, I'm the Black Panther. I put on the suit and you shoot at me.
Poor Andy Serkis. He's dead.
Oh, God, he died very violently.
You know, from reading the comics, and I've read a number of Black Panther books, let me tell you the pantheon of his villains. Ulysses Claw. Killmonger. Man-Ape, I guess.
They're both dead.
Yeah, they're dead. They killed the main villains in the first movie. It was like,
Interesting.
where are we going after this?
I don't know.
It's too bad, because I liked them both so much. Like, I think the villains were my favorite part of this movie, and they're both dead.
Yeah.
Except for Andy Serkis' weird rubbery arm.
Oh, yeah.
With his sound cannon. And all I really wanted was for him to conjure red African animals made of sound, like he did in that Fantastic Four book we read.
But he didn't.
No, he didn't. Just pure red sound-based animals.
No, he just had his sonic cannon.
Yeah, he just shot things out of his weird rubber arm.
What about the Korean car chase? That was good. I liked that.
Yeah, the thing that I kind of like the most about it is we have Shuri who's, remote controlling the car from Wakanda. So from Wakanda to South Korea, she has an instantaneous, Wi-Fi connection. I'm like, that's impressive.
Well, that's the power of vibranium, baby.
No lag. Heals a spine, gives you good Wi-Fi.
I need some vibranium in my life.
That heals a spine thing was weird.
Yeah, but...
that bothered me a little.
Yeah.
It does everything. We're just going to push it into your skin and you're fine.
I think there was more to it than that. But...
Nope, that's all it was. They literally just pushed a ball into his spine, and then they pushed a ball into his ear. They're like, and now we have comms.
There's a little tab behind his ear.
Vibranium did a lot in this movie. It does what you need it to do.
Vibranium is the star of the movie.
It's our ex machina.
Yes.
Had to think of that term for a second.
Good job. No, it's not a whole lot else to spoil.
So, yeah, Bucky's back. He's healed. Like I said, it's a week later. That's how I want to picture it. And then we throw some shade at our second fattest president.
Yeah, the first cutscene of T'Challa at the United Nations was kind of it felt like a throwaway cutscene.
It felt like it didn't need to be a post-credit scene. Why wasn't that just part of the movie?
Yeah.
Because, we see him at the UN. He's like, hey, by the way, Wakanda's been hiding. We're not actually a poor third world nation. We're actually richer and better than you.
And then everybody else in the world.
Yeah, I didn't know it at the time, but found out later that it's an old African proverb, and I'm not going to get the wording right.
Yeah, only a fool would burn bridges. Or, no, a wise man builds bridges while a fool builds barriers.
Yeah, and my reaction was, ha!
Wow!
And then I was told to shush.
Yes, you were. By multiple people. You didn't want to cause a scene in the movie theater.
Yeah, I was like, and even if it is an old saying, I'm still going to say it was kind of pointed.
It was a little aimed, yes.
Not a lot to say. Glad it was there.
Enjoyable, to say the least.
I don't know. Do we have anything else to spoil?
Not really. I liked it.
Thirsty Gambler.
Thirsty Gambler was good. There was good action.
Let's not have any more memes in movies.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to say. No more what are those.
That's fair.
Yeah, so still, I'm sure you heard it before, but go see it in theaters. From there, let's go into our, occasionally used bumper for a good old-fashioned interview. We're talking to Jim Lawson this week, if you didn't hear me say that earlier in the show.
You got a suit? And suit up.
Now an editor's note exclusive interview.
So tonight, for our 100th episode, we are going to be talking to Jim Lawson, a man who has had over a 30-year career in comic books. The man who has drawn more Ninja Turtles than anyone in the history of the characters. He's worked on Ninja Turtles, Planet Racers, Box City Wallops, Paleo, and other projects. We are very happy to be sitting down tonight with Jim Lawson, artist, writer of Ninja Turtles, and with more projects to come. Thank you, Jim, for coming on tonight.
Hey, my pleasure. I'm impressed. You seem like you pretty much know everything I've done.
I'm afraid. Did I miss anything? There's Planet Racers.
No, I don't think so.
Paleo. I mean, like I said, like you have been working with the Ninja Turtles for over 30 years now, and within comics, most people have a very seemingly brief career, but you have literally done it for decades.
I'm probably like the tick of comics, you know. I kind of latched on, I guess, and I just refuse to let go. I don't know.
It beats a regular job, right?
It does beat a regular job. Actually, I love my job, and I love coming in here and getting to draw every day. I'm actually talking to you from my studio down in Northampton, Mass. It's, you know, I'm a lucky guy. I get to do what I love.
So the studio, that's still working out of the second Mirage studio?
You know, yeah, Zach. It's, you know, originally when I first moved up to Mass from Connecticut and started working in the studio full time, our first studio was kind of just outside of town in this old kind of reclaimed factory building, something called the Cutlery Building, and we were in there for a long time, all us guys, and we were in like one large room together, and it was pretty crazy. I don't know how long we were there, a couple of years, and then Peter ended up buying this building actually right in town, and we made the move to here, the current location, and each got our own little kind of like office, and yeah, I've been in this room ever since.
So, Jim, for someone like me who, like, I grew up not with the comic books per se. Like, I really only got into like reading comics when I started doing this show with Zach, which was the brainchild of a night of excessive drinking. But I grew up with the cartoon and the movies. How did you get latched on to the project and become an artist for the book?
Well, I guess maybe I'd have to go all the way back to my art school days. I went to art school, like, I guess, someone who loved art and knew they wanted to be an artist. It was a college down in New Haven, Connecticut, actually just outside of there. And I thought I wanted to be an illustrator of some kind. And I read a lot of comic books when I was a kid, but, you know, kind of, you know, I guess I kind of like grew out of them. You know, although I think of comics for adults now, maybe it wasn't quite so back in those days. And when I was at art school, there was a dude there who was making a comic, and it kind of blew my mind a little that a grown-up was actually making comics. And it was kind of like a more adult-themed, I guess, book. You know, he was just doing it as a goof, just something for himself. But it kind of like popped a light in my head. And then when I moved back home from school, you know, I got a job at the local newspaper. I was like working the ad department, like putting together ads for the paper, and through a friend I kind of got made aware of Kevin and Pete, and I'd never heard of them nor the Turtles. However, a meeting was set up at the time, and, you know, I drove my car over a couple towns next door and met those two guys, and Steve Levine was living with Kevin at the time. This was down in Sharon, Connecticut. And it was amazing what these guys were doing, and they were, all three of them were like totally goofy and just having a blast, and kind of, I guess it was at the beginning of the ride, and it was kind of, you know, we just hit it off, and I had my portfolio with me, and like I was going on a job interview, and they offered me an inking job at the time, and this was like a little backstory called Prime Slime Tale, and that was kind of my first experience doing comics, actually inking that. You know, they soon after that they moved up here to Northampton, Mass. I followed them, and you know, my duties kind of grew more and more. I suppose from inking maybe more to like a penciling type job. I even had a real job when I first moved up here because I didn't know if I could do the comics thing full time, but there was plenty of work and the book was doing great.
So you were aside from, you know, Pete and Kevin and then Steve, so you were the fourth person through the door?
You know, I moved out here at the same exact time Ryan Brown did. I'd been working on the book, but I made the move up to Northampton, and there was this agreement that Ryan and I would get an apartment together, this dude I never met. And so, yeah, me and Ryan came here together, kind of, and, you know, I know that I remember Mike Dooney had communications with Kevin and Pete, and I think Mike Dooney might have beat me to the book to actually get his own stuff published. You know, it was Gizmo at the time
I mean, I could just, showing my age a little bit here, I could tell you that Dooney's first book came out the month that I was born.
Oh, wow.
So Dooney's first book was February of 88.
Oh my God, man! It's funny when I go to shows. I'm like seeing like people who I'm seeing like third generation or second generation, I guess, Turtle fans. People who were like little kids when I first started, now grown and with kids of their own, and they're getting them into the Turtles. It's crazy.
I think because for this show, I ended up kind of rereading what I would consider kind of like key issues that you have done. And I think the thing that I was the most impressed with, I mean, your penciling style has certainly evolved over time. But I think the thing that kind of shocked me was your layouts. More than your penciling, like your page layouts are absolutely insane, even from the very beginning.
Really?
Yeah, there was nothing traditional about the way that you would lay out a page. Or at least, certainly not for like an entire book. Like there was always something in there that was kind of the thing prepping for this that was like, all right, let's look at Jim's work. Let's kind of see what he did. It was the page layouts that really took me more than anything else.
Wow. Honestly, that's probably the first, I don't know if that's the first time somebody has actually said that to me. It's funny because I remember when I was first like getting into comics, like seeing Kevin's stuff, page layouts. He had a really kind of a stunning ability. I don't know how much of that he maybe got from Frank Miller, but
yeah, I mean Kevin's action layouts are outstanding. But no, like the stuff that you did, like because there's certainly pages that you penciled with Kevin's layout, like the Return to New York stuff. But the stuff that you did independently, I was like, he knows how to work a page. He knows how to pace a book, and that was the most impressive stuff to me.
Wow, that's cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
What kind of goes into the thought process of laying that out? I'm kind of thumbing back through. I read some of the stuff that Zach had kind of bookmarked for me, and in the first book that you worked on, where they're in the cabin with April and Casey and the Turtles are there, and the goon thug kind of people come over. What goes the thought process into how you design and choreograph a fight? Because it's different than when you see at the end of Return to New York, where Leonardo fights Shredder in kind of the penultimate deal with Shredder, and how that fight is laid out a little differently, obviously because Kevin was involved in the layout of that a little bit too. But what goes in the thought process to that to take such a thing like you're used to seeing it in the movies? You see the action in the movies and you're putting it into static form and try and bring it to life on the page. What's the thought process behind that?
Oh man. It's crazy. I mean, some of that just kind of takes over naturally. Like in a fight scene, like I love to have like lots of little panels because that helps convey, the action that's going on. Oh man, you can, for like, if you want to convey, like you said, see, here I go. Panel, just like a big panel, a static kind of design, conveys, kind of like a peaceful or a quiet moment. Whereas, like, in a fight scene, or sometimes you can offset the panels or have them at angles, or I don't know. It's a hard question. I've always kind of tried to bring an element of design beyond. I like to think of the whole thing. That's a tough question, but it's really good. You're making me think.
Thank you.
I think the page itself is kind of instead of thinking of the panels individually, you think of them together, put together as kind of like a piece of art. And I guess I always find it interesting. It brings kind of another level of interest if you can do something interesting with the panels or design the page perhaps in a different way, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Man, I always think there was a scene where what the heck was it? Was it Donatello confronting Casey on like a log?
Yes. Yes.
Log.
That's the one.
Was it Don and Casey?
Yes.
Oh man.
That was like what? Like issue 50, 51? Was that like Shades of Grey? I'm going.
Yeah.
It's easier when
that was one of the most fucked up scenes. It was like I was trying to think of like how to do it, and there were like 3 different views, and I was trying to get it to like look kind of messed up, but have the the dialogue flow and the action like look.
Yeah, that's a super dark scene of a drunk Casey just poking him like, "Come on, let's fight. I'm really drunk." What a fun guy.
Oh man.
one of the ones that we kind of prep for this, and, if you have a different opinion on it, please feel free to tell me, but I think probably the issue that you are best known for would be the Rat King issue.
Yeah. That was a great one. The early Tales Volume 1, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Ryan and I were switching off issues. It was my turn to write, and, I really like that character. It's funny, people mention that book to me a lot. I wanted this kind of, antagonist, the villain, but he wasn't really a bad guy. He was just kind of messed up and, someone who had been by himself, kind of in that solitude, kind of lost his sense of humanity, imagined himself as the name of that story was I Monster. So
yeah, I love that. I love that whole play on like iRobot. That's fantastic. I love the reference. Or like Tarzan, all that kind of stuff. It's all fantastic.
But I didn't want to make him a bad guy. I just love to get inside his head. Make him kind of a sympathetic character. And he was based a little bit on there was this guy, this actual guy, this hobo down in Connecticut that lived, I want to say around the turn of the century, maybe the late 1800s or something. He was called the Leatherman, and he was this guy. He was French. I don't even think he spoke English, but he kind of lived in the woods by himself. And he had this route he would travel, and it would take him, I guess, months to do this route, and people would see him show up, and he had this leather suit that was all stitched together he'd made, and they said the suit had to have weighed like perhaps 50 pounds or something. It was huge, and I always thought he was the coolest guy, and so the Rat King was based a little bit on that. The Rat King, at the end of the story, he was like, he feared the rats up until that point, and he fell into the pit, and he was like, here come the rats, I'm the Rat King. He had this transitional moment, and then I was like, okay, that story's done, and the toy company kind of like latched onto that, and I was kind of surprised because the story really wasn't about Rat King. Rat King only appeared on the last page, but yeah.
Was that your beginning for writing? 'Cause, I mean, I know we can number one of Tales was your first penciling gig.
Yeah.
Was the Rat King your first writing gig?
For like the Turtle universe, yes. I'd had a couple little funky issues published by Mirage, a guy called Bait Biker. You guys ever hear of him?
The name doesn't ring a bell.
And it's some crazy art. But yeah, Bait Biker was my first kind of like comic writing gig.
It's been kind of publicly stated more, we don't need to dive into it, but kind of like the falling out of Kevin and Pete, and then they get back together for Return to New York, and you're penciling this seminal book. Like, those 3 issues are massive.
Yeah.
And what I would consider, like, top 3 most iconic images of the entire series, like, you did one of them. Like, I put it to, like, the first, the double splash page in issue 1, the Shredder returning in, number 10, and then Shredder getting decapitated that you did. I would put that, like, as, like, top 3 iconic images of this entire series.
Yeah. It was crazy. It was, a really special moment. A lot of people talk about Return to New York as their favorite trilogy or series.
I'm curious, was that you or Kevin that had like the line for the decapitation?
That's a really good question. I can't remember.
It's also totally fine.
I think it was Kevin, but it was like so. Man, it's funny. My mom has that original piece of art.
That's a great piece.
I think that was Kevin.
I love it's very simplistic, but it does everything that you need in that 2-page splash.
Yeah. Kevin, I think he as far as my memory goes now, he provided with kind of like layouts and breakdowns and stuff like that for that issue. So I just penciled it from that.
So obviously with the Rat King and with Return to New York, and then getting some of your own story arcs to write, with kind of having like been given the trust to take and do some things with the Turtles that you wanted to do, what kind of pressure did you feel, or was there any, as far as taking and being creative with these characters yourself and doing kind of what you wanted to do with them within the context of the Turtles universe?
Yeah. It was easy going. There was a comfort and familiarity with the characters at that point. I kind of, it's always funny. I didn't want to mess with them too much. As a matter of fact, I guess right after that, probably the Image Turtles came along. Those Image guys totally changed stuff, and they made
quite a bit,
robot, and didn't they cut off Leonardo's hand or something like that?
Yeah.
I remember thinking at the time, wow, I would never dare do anything like that. And I was kind of amazed that those guys, went for it, but good for them.
The first run of Ninja Turtles goes for, 64 issues? And then Volume 2 starts, and you are the entire creative force behind it. Yeah. What was that, 91? 92?
Yeah.
It ultimately doesn't really matter. But either way, for a while, you were scripting and penciling, and then there was a long hiatus before everyone came back. What was it like with you kind of running the book after Pete and Kevin were dealing with more of the business side?
It's weird. I've never been a really confident person, and I wasn't. I didn't have a ton of comic experience. I love to tell the stories. I kind of was hoping I was doing a good job. Perhaps I was pissing some people off.
If you're not doing that, you're doing your job wrong. Someone has to get mad at it.
It's funny because Kevin and Pete, they're so beloved, and when those two guys work together, magic happens. And so, I knew I wasn't doing as good as what they would do, but I was telling the stories I liked, and hopefully I was doing a good job with the characters. I mean, I love the characters, but, I did the best I could, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
You opened with risks, and you set up some stuff, and really and I'm so glad we get to talk to you about this, is, Volume 2, especially the first issue, you set up a lot of stuff that unfortunately never really got to see fruition. What was your plan there? Because I'm so interested to hear what you were thinking about, because we see Splinter getting beaten to death by, I think, Donatello. Michelangelo is a TV producer. There's a giant demonic rat. All this stuff. You, for as much as you're saying, I didn't want to change it, you opened with risks, which that's not just, playing it safe. That's swinging for the fences, and I think in a good way.
Well, the thing with Splinter, that was something Pete wanted in there. So that basically came from him. Boy, that was a messed up issue, wasn't it? That had some weird dream imagery.
Yeah,
what does it all mean?
It's kind of unfortunate, but a lot of that stuff that kind of gets hey, this is coming, by the end of Volume 2, which was, 13 issues, never came to fruition. So I was always in my brain, and for years I'm what was the plan? What were they doing? I want to know.
Yeah. Honestly, that Splinter thing, that was Pete. Pete wanted, I think it was his intention at the time to have Splinter die at the hands of Raphael, and I didn't know where that was going. Yeah.
I love that. That's so much better than it's just something was going to happen. That is the best response I could have gotten.
And honestly, the Michelangelo as a TV producer, that had also come from Pete. Pete wanted to, I don't know what he was setting up. It was funny, working with him on Volume 4, he would introduce stuff on Volume 4, and I had no clue where he was going, with things.
What I love, literally, in the room that we're sitting in, I like to refer to it as the studio. No one else likes to call it that.
I've never even heard you call it the studio.
It is the podcast studio. Deal with it. We're looking at where we're sitting. We are looking at 2 pages from Volume 4 right now, and I love it. Both when Pete saw, because you and Pete have both signed them. When Pete saw them and you saw them, you're no one has these, and I don't know. I personally kind of love that.
Oh yeah, because they're Volume 4.
Yeah, and Pete's I never sold any of these, and that was Shellback, and Steve kind of popped in. He's I did.
That was crazy. All the Volume 4 stuff. Steve probably told you it was Pete. We would finish the pages, and Pete would just buy them from us. We had it kind of the standing deal, and Pete owned everything from Volume 4. Man, oh man, if I could get my hands on some of those pages. But the last issue, I guess, what was it, 70 or something like that, or
32. 31 or 32, depending on what you call it. Yeah, because I'm staring at one of those right now.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a great great page. Don't ever let that out of your head.
I mean, I always, I say this whenever I see artists and I get them to sign stuff. I'm like, I don't sell my art. Like, this isn't for, I'm not getting it to be signed so I can turn it, like, this is staying with me. And I tell my wife, I'm like, if I die, you can sell it. But until then, it's in our house.
Yeah, that's super, super rare.
Listen, Jim, I know where it is, and if you want it, I can get it to you.
Stay away from my things.
So yeah, I wasn't about to let that last bunch of pages, let him have those because I wanted some too. I've got one page from that book myself.
If we're just continuing along with kind of like your career chronologically, Volume 2 ends. There's a bit of an interim between Volume 2 and Volume 4 and Tales Volume 2 when that came back. What did you end up doing in between those things?
I guess that was the time I was working on Planet Racers.
That was you and Pete, right?
Yeah, that was me and Pete. Yeah, and 3 volumes. There's a lot of work there. Yeah.
And that got adapted into the 2003 animated series for an episode.
Yeah, crazy. How about that?
A little bit of kind of behind the curtain. I had to snowblow this morning because of the storm. And then I was like, I'm just going to sit down and watch a thing. And that happened to be the thing that I turned. I'm like, ooh, good. I'll bring this up.
Oh, no kidding. Wow, I haven't seen that episode in a long time.
It's on iTunes. So I was like, oh, that one. Great. Jim did that. That's based on Jim and Pete. Fantastic. I have a thing to bring up.
So,
Planet Racers, man. I miss that book.
I'll kind of piggyback off Zach brought up the animated series. How much did the cartoon and the movies, how much were you ever involved in that? But then also, how did that change anything with the book? Did it change the way that you guys looked at or saw the characters? Did seeing them to come to life on Saturday mornings or on the big screen, what did that feel like? Where you're surrounded by them all the time and you're with them all the time, and then all of a sudden they're there in the flesh, so to speak.
Me, I guess, Jared, I kind of separated myself from that stuff quite a bit. I didn't have anything to do really with the cartoon or the movies and all that stuff. And, to me, in my brain, I just compartmentalized that stuff kind of off to the side. It was interesting, but didn't really affect me. I was super lucky in that, I'm looking around in my little room here. I could come in this room and close the door and I just wouldn't have to think about anybody or see anything or talk to anybody, all day long. I was just in my own little world, really.
Getting into Volume 4, so that at the time kind of seemed unprecedented. Mirage had ended and then everyone came back. What was that like for you, kind of getting back into that world?
The best. It was just the coolest, I love working with Pete. He's a great writer, I think. He's a lot different than Kevin. The stories progress at a much slower pace, a lot more dialogue. I think Pete is a master at dialogue.
There always seemed to be that difference of Kevin loved the street level stuff and the action, and Pete kind of seemed to be the sci-fi guy.
Yeah.
That was always just my read on it. If I'm wrong, that's fine. I'm wrong.
No, I'd agree with that. It was great. Once again, I was working on the Turtle book. That's all. Man, if I'm working on the Turtle book, I'm happy. That's where I want to be. I love the characters, and Pete would deliver me, a 2 or 3 page, typewritten outline of what he wanted in the story, and I'd just pencil it up and off I'd go, and those were great days. I just had a blast on that book.
For me I remember very specifically when it was announced that the Turtles have been sold to Viacom, and I remember those remaining issues. It was a weirdly transitional period for me. The issue that you did for Tales Volume 2, number 70, for the wrap-up, that was the month I graduated college. So it was a very weird transitional book for me to buy. I was like, okay, here's this book. Also, I guess I have to pay for things now.
I'm a real adult now.
I was a fake adult, to say the least. But it was
in some ways, you still are.
Yeah, no, I am a faux adult. I run a comic book store. I've talked to a couple of people about the end. How was that sale for you?
It was terrible. Leading up to that, I guess, there was a sense that something was happening. Pete's interest and involvement with the book had been less and less. I think a year would transpire between issues. Sometimes.
Yeah, that slowed way the hell down. What you were doing with Tales Volume 2 was a monthly thing, and if there was a Volume 4 book, it was ooh, there's another one. What a random coincidence.
Yeah.
It was like that for a couple of years.
Yeah, it just wasn't good. You know, the sale was felt like a punch to the gut. You know, having things end. You know, I'd still be doing the Turtle book. You know, we'd be on issue 150 by now if I'd had my choice.
I saw an interview with you recently where you mentioned trying to start Volume 5. What happened there?
I did a couple of treatments. You know, two or three stories. You know, non Volume 4 things because I knew Pete wanted to do that for himself.
Well, I saw you did like a kind of end of Volume 4, I guess we'll call it a splash page that was gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a commission piece. I don't know. I was just...
Well, one of my favorite, like, I saw, like, April and Casey in there, and Michelangelo with his kids, and Splinter being back, and I've always seen the argument, like, for the end of Volume 4 of, like, did Casey cheat on April? I'm like, no.
But April was gone, man. She ditched him. She went off on her motorcycle ride. Find herself. Or...
You know, do you want to take a minute on that? Because I know you're a big motorcycle fan. You know, if you want to take a minute, just be like, you know what, motorcycles are awesome. Just take that minute.
Just run with it?
Yeah, just go. It doesn't matter. Let's have fun.
My love of motorcycles, guys, it's hard to put into words. I'm looking up on my bulletin board. There's like pictures of motorcycles there. I'm looking at my computer. There's a motorcycle webpage. What the hell is my problem, man? I don't, it's winter, I guess, and I'm just, frustrated. So.
Yeah, no, this is not the time to do it. We're in the Northeast. It is terrible and awful.
Are you a Harley guy, or?
No, I'm not a Harley guy at all. Yeah, do you know what Moto Guzzi's are?
No,
yeah, I do.
I have no idea.
You've heard of them? Yeah. I'm a Moto Guzzi guy. I got two in my garage right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the fastest you ever gone on it?
I'm not like a wicked, crack open the throttle and see, the fastest. The fastest I've probably ever been on a motorcycle is maybe 120.
A bunch of the Mirage guys seem to be, I know, Pete and Steve are into that. Do you guys go on rides?
Pete, it's funny. I've always been, a motorcycle guy. So, ever since I was a kid, motorcycle. So when I moved up here, it was kind of cool to find out, or I guess I knew before that, actually, that Pete had been into bikes a little bit and kind of dropped out, didn't have any. And then when I moved up, the first thing I did probably was my first paycheck I ever got from Mirage was go buy a motorcycle.
And fantastic.
I want a motorcycle, so he got one. And yeah, Pete and I have been on a bunch of rides. We've even ridden across country one time. We rode out to San Diego one year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Steve a little less so, I've ridden with him and Pete.
I threw it out online hey, does anyone have a question for Jim?
Okay.
And I have a number of questions for you if you don't mind.
Okay.
I should have opened these up earlier, and we're just going to wait for a minute while I get that going.
So, while he gets that up, I'll fill in a question.
Thank God.
I've been waiting to ask this question.
Do it.
And we went off on a motorcycle ride. So, I know that artists like to put a little bit of themselves into the art. Which turtle do you most associate with? And which turtle are you jealous of? Which turtle do you man, I wish I could be like Donatello, but I'm really like Michelangelo.
Well, which one do let's go first associate with. It's funny. I love when it comes to writing stories. I think Leonardo is a really cool character, and he's not like me at all because he's the leader, and I am definitely not a leader. I'm more like a follower, but maybe that makes my interest in people or characters that are leaders more interesting. What is it like? What's the responsibility feel like? What happens when you fail? How do you control situations? Deal with other characters. If you're the leader. I just find that really interesting. I love to get in people's heads and kind of figure out what their thought processes are. Down deep. So I like Leo a lot. I wish I could be more like him. But Raphael, you talk about jealousy. I wish I could be like Raphael. Not that he's well, yeah, because he's kind of a badass. Yeah, that's why I like him. I wish I could be more badass. I admire his strength and his belief in himself. Yeah, he might fly off the handle, every now and then.
He did say bitchin' in a kids movie, so.
All right, I have some listener questions for you. Question number 1 from Steve Levine.
A question from Steve Levine?
Yeah, he's quite frankly too obsessed with this podcast.
God.
Steve asks, why don't you call your good old pal Steve enough anymore?
Alright, I gotta do that. I'm kind of a hermit, and I feel like I'm getting worse that way, and in the wintertime it's really bad. I don't want to talk to anybody.
Well, you know what? Steve feels left out. He feels like you need to talk to him more. That's what I've gotten from his question.
I'll call him tomorrow.
This whole interview is actually an intervention.
As well you should. Question number 2 from our faithful listeners comes from Tom Waltz, writer of all of the IDW books.
What?
Look, I'll level with you. I reached out to people.
Oh.
I'm going to give up on this ruse real quick.
The reality is nobody listens to our show.
That's not... We do quite well. We have 4 digits in our listenership.
Really?
That's impressive.
It is.
Tom Waltz, writer of all of the IDW books, asks, who is cuddlier, Michelangelo or Kevin Eastman?
Oh, I don't know. Kevin's pretty cuddly. First-hand experience with Kevin, so I have to go with Kevin. I think Kevin's pretty cuddly.
But who have you spent more time with, though, Michelangelo or Kevin?
I've probably spent more time with Michelangelo, actually.
The fact that you said first-hand experience with Kevin, I'm just going to gloss over that and roll on to our next question. Tristan Jones writes in.
Oh, my God.
Tristan wrote in a serious question.
Oh.
He's really curious to know... I'm just going to read it verbatim instead of trying to do it. I'm really...
Speaking his accent.
Yeah, I'll try and be Australian. I'm actually really curious to know what he makes of where the TMNT comics are now, given his heavy involvement in things, and whether he thinks Volume 4 will ever be closed up or continued with Peter.
He wants to know whether Volume 4 will ever be finished?
I just could have said that, but I chose to read it verbatim. But yes, that is the gist.
Oh, man. My guess is it's not going to get finished.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you.
If I had to bet. Yeah.
So, sorry, Tristan, regular listener of the show.
Yeah, sorry about that, man. I don't know, maybe Tristan pitched Pete. Yeah, well, I don't know.
I got, other constant listener of the show, Brian Lynch. Brian Lynch, who wrote early on in the IDW series, he did the kind of micro series books. When I reached out to him, his response was, oh man, I love Jim.
Really?
Yeah. And guy who's done, he wrote Minions, Secret Life of Pets, a few other odds and ends, aside from Turtles books.
I didn't know you had such Twitter power, Zach.
Wow, that's funny. That's cool.
So, Brian Lynch, who has written for IDW, asked you multiple questions. You have to create a new turtle. You have to. Those are his words, not mine. Name, weapon, personality.
All right, let's see where this goes.
He got real aggressive with you have to.
Well, maybe I will. Well, I don't know. It might get me in trouble. It's funny. After one of the comics I worked on after the Turtles was this thing called A Walk Through Dinosaur Land, and the guy in the guide or the guy in the comic is a turtle, and Pete saw that. He wasn't very happy with me, so I decided I can't do any more turtles. So.
So the answer is you have to is no.
I don't know if he wrote it in all caps. Maybe I should just do it. Say f*** it and do it.
You know what? Do that. I would buy that book, sir.
All right.
Which of your non-Ninja Turtles projects would you like to see animated?
Oh, you know what? The thing I'm working on right now, Box City Wallops, I think it would make a sweet little show.
I'm glad you brought that up.
We're gonna get there.
I'm gonna insert it right now because you brought it up.
Do you want to talk Box City Wallops right now?
I do, because I loved Box City Wallops.
Let's cut off Brian Lynch.
But yeah,
he's actually listened to our show. He said nice things about it.
He said nice things about me.
He said nice things about the show in general.
Okay.
You're part of the show in general.
I am the show.
Okay, fantastic.
We'll get back to Brian's question, but Box City Wallops, where are things with that right now? I really like that. I know that you had a Kickstarter going for that, Jim, and Zach had a copy of the book that we read and we reviewed. And
oh, that was messed up. Yeah, the way I had it arranged, I planned for 6 issues, and I was like, well, I want to do single issues, because I think single issues are so cool. And so I'll do 3 Kickstarters. I'll split it up. And the first Kickstarter went. The second Kickstarter came $100 shy. I mean, I could have pushed it over myself. I was having like a moral crisis, and I knew even if I did have to push it over myself, I'd have to come back to Kickstarter and do issues 5 and 6, and I was like, what am I doing? Am I doing the right thing?
It left an impression on me, and it was so good, and I loved the old style. I loved that it was black and white. I loved that it was hand-lettered. I loved that it was kind of real-world based, and I loved the characters, and I loved the art. And when we reviewed it, I loved that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt like this big Jack Kirby influence. I adore that book, and I want to see those remaining 4 issues.
Yeah. There are 6 issues all done of BWC.
Wait, they're done?
There's this guy, Arseny, who is this Russian guy, and I did a show in Russia. Arseny, he knew about the Wallops, and, it didn't go, and he was like, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take this book, and we're going to color it.
Oh, is that what you're doing with it now? Because the issues that we looked at originally were black and white, so it's going to turn into a color book?
Yeah. So I've seen, Arseny's got a guy over there, a really cool guy, Dimitri, and he's coloring the book, and I've seen the first 2 issues colored, and I think the beginning of book 3. And I say this with the one caveat is that I haven't heard from Arseny in like, I don't know, been a couple of months. I know he's got a lot on his plate. So I'm assuming, work is continuing to progress on the color version. And, it's funny because right now, I'm looking at it on my desk, I'm working on issue 7.
Really? I thought this was just a 6-issue mini. No, this is breaking. Breaking news.
Yeah, I guess it is kind of breaking news. There is an issue 7. Originally, I thought
the
story arc was going to be issues 1 through 6, but 7 is kind of part of the same story arc, and I promise I'll stop after. I
truly enjoyed that book, and there's plenty of stuff that I read. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. It's a solid book, and I really want to see the rest of it come to fruition.
I know. Once I get this done, I got to pitch it to like Viacom or Nickelodeon or something.
Yeah,
I think it'd be a fun cartoon. I think it just has those elements to it.
I mean, there's enough small publishers out there, and you're a big enough name.
Yeah.
But you know what? If it goes back to Kickstarter, I'm going to back the hell out of that book for the shop.
Yeah, that's probably what I should have done to begin with. Is just done a trade paperback,
because we are talking. We did kind of do some. We're kind of, backtracking here, but we did look at a few things of yours. Tales, Volume 2, Number 5. Let's get specific. Blindsight. What a fantastic issue.
Hey, thanks, man. That was a lot of fun. People really like that issue, and
I am all about that issue. That is one of my favorite things you ever did.
Yeah. It was so interesting to draw that because it was almost like you had to more like design the way you wanted what you were trying to convey in the panels. That was a real kick to do. I love that book too.
How did you do that? Because it's all black with just like the white outlines of the characters. Yeah. That looks like it'd be incredibly different. Did you kind of draw it and then go black around it? How did you go through that?
Yeah, you got it, Jared. It was like kind of the same way. You had to think about it a little bit, kind of like plan for it. But that's kind of what I did is draw it and then kind of like outline the drawing and fill in the black. Yeah. That
is one of these like singular, one of my favorite issues. You have been responsible for a lot of like, oh, that's an amazing one shot. Oh, that's an amazing one shot. Like you've done quite a few of them. Stylistically, you almost took a 180-degree turn throughout your career, and I kind of like where it ended up. You almost seem to go from, forgive me for being terrible with descriptions, from round to angular.
Yeah. You're right. I don't know why. It wasn't an intentional thing. It wasn't this planned thing. It was just kind of, I don't know if it's a growth or like a process or something. I don't know, man. It's just thousands of hours, I guess, of drawing, and that's just kind of where things have gone. It's weird, I look at my old stuff, and it doesn't even look like me,
And I don't think it's a bad thing. I like where things ended up. Well, it's true. Like, if I look especially like post-90s onto your work, I'm like, oh, that's Jim's work. Like, I can point that out in an instant. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. I like what you turned into.
Yeah, I don't know.
Returning to Brian Lynch, what is your favorite Ninja Turtles villain that you didn't create?
Oh, man. Favorite Ninja Turtle villain that I didn't create.
You could just say Shredder. It'd be real quick.
Just shredder. Oh God, I'm letting you guys down here.
No, not at all.
You did cut the head off. You did cut open Baxter Stockman's head and have his brain taken out. So that was.
Yeah, that was me. Oh my God. Huh. I don't know, man. That's a tough one.
And he has one more question for you. What is your favorite dinosaur?
Oh, my favorite dinosaur. Oh, that's got to be easy. I love the T-Rex, man. You can't go wrong with the T-Rex.
You know, if he's asking that, he knows your work.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is my end of Ninja Turtles writers/artists who I reached out to who answered me. Sorry to say. I wish I had thought about it earlier than 5 o'clock tonight.
You know, I guess the going back to the villain thing, I guess it's got to be the Triceratons, you know? Like,
yeah.
Bridging the whole thing between the dinosaur things. The Triceratons are cool. They pretty much kick ass. So, yeah, I like that.
Talking for the future, what were your plans for Volume 5 if that had actually gone through?
Oh, man. The pitch... Yeah, what was the pitch to Pete? I remember one of them was... one of the things Pete said was there was a time period in the Utrom world which was left open, and I know I remember the Turtles, one of the things was they developed a ship, and it had, I forget what they call it, it was like a push-pull drive or something like that, so that it could travel between dimensions. So they were on this ship, and I think Renette was a bad guy. I turned her into a villain.
Really?
Yeah. And I can't off the top of my head remember what was going on there, but I think she killed Savanti Romero's son or something like that. Oh man, you guys.
It's okay.
Yeah. I'm letting you down a little bit, but it was stuff like that. And
tell me the pitch that you made years ago.
I can barely remember what I had for dinner.
I want word for word verbatim what you said. What you had to say to Pete, what you had to say to the lawyers, I want to know. But I'll kind of continue on that train of thought because all of the books that focused on the future are kind of depressing as hell. Like, it's the apocalypse and everyone's dead.
Yeah.
What would your pitch be to end everything? Because that's always been, for me, like, since the sale happened, the biggest downer. That this is a story that feels like it should be a finite story, but it's not. It's an unfinished story. If you had to throw out, this is the end, what is the end? Side note, I'm going to pitch this to Viacom and make money.
I did write a story. Once again, it's a Leonardo story, and it takes place in, it's like the post-apocalypse. It's Earth, There's kind of this ancient lone swordsman. He meets this other character, and blah, blah, blah. And then there's this evil guy who is developing kind of the next level of human evolution, and there are these beings that can morph between being human and being monsters. So the swordsman guy, this is Leonardo now, but we don't know it. He's kind of like masqueraded. He hooks up with this bad guy who's developing these creatures, these creatures that can morph between human and monster. And the thing is as this bad guy is developing these creatures, every once in a while one of them goes rogue and runs through the city and kills people, and the swordsman has to go out and take care of this creature, kill it. We don't know why Leonardo is doing this. We don't know is Leonardo, he's just a guy. And come to find out that in his human experiments, this bad guy, all of Leonardo's brothers are gone, but all this character gives us is that my 3 brothers are gone and my father's gone, and all I have left is my daughter, and this evil guy actually cloned Shadow. And so she's this little girl. And then at the end...
You're not going for the happy ending, are you?
No, I'm not. It's dark, man. And in the end, Leonardo kills the bad guy. And I've got a thing in the story, too, where this little girl's in the tank, and Leo, who we don't know is Leo, admits, tells this that this is my daughter in the tank. He cloned her, and soon she and I will be together. But something leads him to believe he doesn't know if she's real or whether she's just like a hologram in the tank because he's never really held her or seen her outside the tank. And something happens where one of the monsters gets loose, and Leo takes care of him, but then the bad guy gets mad at him and throws him off the roof, and it doesn't kill Leo, and then Leo comes back and kills the guy, and is actually reunited with the daughter at the end. I don't know. It's weird, man, but did you follow any of that?
I like where you're at.
Leo's the only one left at the end.
Hey, you know what? Like I said, it feels like something that should have a finite ending, and I would like it to have that, but it doesn't.
Honestly, Pete has told me he could wrap up the Volume 4 series, but he's never really talked about what he wants to do, and I don't, if I knew, I probably couldn't tell you, but I honestly don't know what he foresaw as what the ending was going to be in Volume 4.
I mean,
how much of a finite wrap-up that was going to be.
I can't really blame him who's like, I have a bunch of money and I retired. Like, yeah, go do that. If I had that option, I would do that too.
But you in a comic book store, so you'll never have that option.
Yeah, no, I'd never have that option. I sell comics. That is the opposite of money. Yeah, it's just one of the, it'd be nice, but I can also understand, like, you know what, I'm just kind of done. I'm not bitter, certainly.
That's good.
So,
me neither much.
So this is like my last question, because the whole premise of the podcast is Zach is the expert and I'm the idiot, having never really picked up a comic book or anything like that.
Is that the premise of the podcast or life?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
So what would you say to somebody who maybe doesn't understand the comic book medium, or sell me on comic books? What makes them so special and so unique, and why are they such a powerful part of our pop culture?
I don't know. Maybe it's like the intimacy, I guess, you get with a comic book. I mean, it's you alone with this thing. Man, I just love the medium. You can appreciate it on so many different levels. The art or the writing. I don't know. It's something with a lot of heritage to it, I guess.
I mean, does it ever sink in, like, how much of, like, a part of, like, the Turtles are a big part of American culture? How does it ever, like, do you ever sit there and just, like, stare at the paper and go,
I drew the most of that?
Yeah, you're like, wow, I'm a real badass piece of Americana.
It's funny with me, I think it's like Kevin and Pete, and, I always think of myself as just kind of like a small wheel kind of in the machine, but,
to that I say you're wrong. You've drawn more of this than Kevin or Pete ever did. You designed so much of this. Like, you're on a small wheel, man. Like, you made this shit.
Every once in a while, I gotta kind of shake my head a little bit and think how lucky I've been. It's pretty damn cool, the life I've had. Yeah. And hey, I got a question for you guys. Have you seen the new turtle designs for this upcoming show?
Yeah, I'm not big on them, but my reaction was I will base it on content.
Yeah.
If the content is bad, then it's bad. If I'm not big on the designs, but if they can do something with whatever they're building, then I'll roll with it.
Yeah. They're not brothers. I can't believe they're not brothers.
Was that part of it? I missed that. That's bad. Isn't that
I don't know. They're different species of turtles.
You know what? You're right.
It's like that's such a foundational thing. It's like, wow, well, I don't know.
So if we're kind of wrapping this up, what is coming up for you? I know we've talked a little bit about Box City Wallops. You've been doing some cover work for IDW. What's kind of coming up for you?
Yeah. Well, Box City Wallops, I don't know exactly what's going to happen with that. The IDW work has pretty much dried up. I haven't gotten anything from them in a while. And I guess that's about it for me, other than, that Andrew Modine Turtle book, Origin book.
Do you have anything else?
No, this was really cool. Thanks for taking some time out to talk to us two schmucks up in Maine. But thanks guys. It's always cool to just kind of hear some of the stories and to kind of dig into the mythos and the legend that is Turtle. I mean, it's I remember when I found out that one of the guys who helped create the Ninja Turtles was from Maine. I'm like, oh, you're so full of shit, to the kid who told me that. He's like, no, Westbrook, Maine. It's always cool to have like kind of that Maine New England tie to that. So
no, thanks for coming on, Jim. This is our 100th episode. It's we've covered a couple of things that you've done. And looking back on all this stuff, this is insane. Like, we talked about up front, like 30-plus year career.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
Thanks for being a part of it, though. Thanks for decorating my house.
Oh, my pleasure. Hey, yeah. Yeah, you got a nice wife.
Thanks, she'll appreciate that.
Artwork, yeah.
I agree, she's very nice.
Well, like I said, if you want any of those Volume 4 pages, I know where they're at, and I can get them for you real cheap.
I know where you live.
Well, they won't be at my house.
Jim, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Okay, dude, it's my pleasure.
Well, that was fun.
It was a great time.
And we did it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. No, it was a lot of fun to talk to him.
It's also really nice that I just have 50 minutes of the show ready to go. I could just plug that
This
right
is
in.
a long show.
It's a 100th episode of Extravaganza. Did you not hear the intro?
I did hear the intro.
You didn't get the email, apparently.
Apparently I didn't. I'm looking at my email right now, and I don't see anything from him.
Yeah, because, we couldn't have a show without you being on your phone half the time.
Well,
We're all throwing shade. Black Panther's throwing shade. I'm throwing shade.
Your hair looks
shade.
Your hair looks terrible.
I don't know what's happening.
You're having a mullet moment.
Ooh.
That's not a compliment.
Is there a party in the back?
I don't know. See, it's not under important emails.
I don't care about your inbox. From all of that, we're moving on to our overblown letters to the editors.
Now for my favorite part of the show. What's that say? Talk to the audience. Oh, God, this is always dead.
Here's another one of your letters to the editors.
Is it really overblown?
Different sheet of paper, got some questions. I'm going to go through this in the order that I wrote them down.
Okay.
Thanks for writing in if you wrote into our extended segment, and also, some of these questions I stole from things I've been asked on Twitter, but weren't actually meant to be for this episode, but I used them anyway. You asked me a question and I used it.
Okay, let's go.
How will the Rebel Alliance recover from Episode 8? Gumption.
They always recover.
There's like 20 people on the Falcon. That's fine. That's enough to take down a evil empire.
It's a grassroots movement, man. Come on.
Hey, we saw that little kid at the end grab a broom.
Yes.
That broom kid.
The broom kid. He's going to lead the way.
Yeah, he's like
the broom kid in Les Miserables. He's just going to start the revolution.
I like seeing superpowers used for mundane tasks. He's just like, ugh.
Dude,
broom!
If you had the Force, you would never get off the couch. You would just force conjure up some whiskey in a glass over to you.
Where's the remote? Remote! Ugh. So I guess the answer is they're going to take over the Empire by doing mundane, menial tasks made slightly easier with the Force.
Well, also remember they sent out messages saying that we're looking for help and nobody was responding, and now maybe the word is that they survived. People that were in hiding might come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, they were...
JJ will save the Rebel Alliance.
They were gathered together by the power of Luke Skywalker not being there. Side note, spoilers, I guess.
Yeah, well, you're late to the party now.
I don't care anymore.
I know.
I think we've talked about spoiler.
Yeah, you give people like 48 hours and then...
I don't care. If you don't want anything to get spoiled, go see it.
Good point.
And that is my thought on spoilers. Different. Right. Okay, moving on. Yeah, I mean, they're rebels. We'll just get more of them.
Yes, there's always going to be a rebel.
They don't like their dictatorships. Autocratic or not.
Reasonable. Fair. Down with the First Order.
I'm asking... Hey, questions.
Answers.
What is your favorite comic book couple? Colossus and Kitty. I like what they're about. I know that...
Peter and Gwen.
You like yourself a tragic couple, eh?
Story of my life.
Do you like the part where she...
dies?
No, I was going to say the part... and everyone ignores this now. This is real. This is real. I think she went away to Europe, and she had an affair with Norman Osborn and gave birth to twins who became villains years later.
Okay, I'll go...
You're like, it's not Gwen Stacy anymore. That's a stupid story.
Damn it, Gwen. We'll go
Boy, no one references that story.
Clark and Lois.
That's a good one. It's nice and classic. They made it together a while.
Yeah, they're making it work. It was a long-distance relationship. Krypton's a little ways away, but they make it work.
Except for that one time that Superman was taken over by... What's the character's name? I think his name's Sleaze. Amazingly enough, not a super nice guy. He's one of the New Gods. He overtook Superman and Big Barda, one of the New Gods, and shot a porno with them. I'm just bringing up weird storylines.
Wasn't there something that we read with Superman in it where he banged, like, Poison Ivy or something?
Yeah, that was Hush. He definitely banged Poison Ivy in that.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to say Colossus and Kitty, they've been on again, off again for many years. At first it was weird because she was 13 and he was 19, but then they got older, and then he cheated on her that one time, and then she's dated other Peters.
What about Sue and Reed?
No, they kind of suck as a couple.
Okay. Because he mansplains everything to her?
Yeah, Reed's kind of the worst. What is a hero you'd like to see go evil, and a villain you'd like to see go good?
Hero I'd like to see go evil, and a villain I'd like to see go good.
My problem is most of these combinations have happened in the book, so I haven't really thought this one out, but I was like, boy, that's everyone. Everyone has done this.
Yeah, I can't think of What if William Stryker were good and Wolverine were evil?
William Stryker in the books is an evangelical preacher.
Oh, well.
He got shot one time. He's back currently.
I'd like Nick Fury, like Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury, to go evil, and Thanos to go good. There we go.
I don't think Thanos has ever really gone good.
He's the Mad Titan.
To my knowledge.
Why would he?
I think it might be fun to get a definitive side of some of the more ambiguous characters. Like, we've had some kind of Elseworld stories, but if you had like an in continuity one of Batman just kind of losing his mind and turning against everyone, like he's built in all of these contingencies against everyone that's been played out many, many times. So he's been like kind of in defense. What if you had Batman go in the offense?
And then like somebody like the Joker had to stop him?
No, I'm just saying in general. Like, I mean, there's been a billion like Superman turns evil stories or Wonder Woman turns evil, like mind control, blah blah blah. But I always feel like Batman's always the guy on the defensive. If you had Batman go like actually evil,
that'd be an interesting concept. Like Batman goes evil, and the only one who could maybe stop him would be the Joker.
Yeah,
and the Joker would be like, "I'm only doing this because I'm supposed to be the bad guy."
Well, that's almost kind of happening in the White Knight series right now. A villain I would like to see turn good. Kind of following, I'll piggyback off the Thanos idea and say Darkseid, because he has never been anything other than just like self-obsessed evil, always looking for the anti-life equation. I don't think he's ever done anything that resembles
good.
Yeah, so I think Darkseid would be an interesting
one.
Would
you would read that Batman comic where like Batman snapped and went bad, and like Joker's like, yeah, this isn't right. I need to be the bad guy, so I'm gonna stop him.
Kind of reading that right now in White Knight. But yeah, here's a question I'll ask you: how do you buy original comic art?
I don't.
Okay, there you go. Don't do it. Easiest answer, I'll condense it for the sake of time. If the artist is still alive, ask them. From there, there's a bunch of different dealer sites. Probably the biggie that links to a bunch is comicartfans.com. And if you find a specific thing that you're looking for, usually if you look up the dealer online, you can find out if they're a legitimate dealer or not. I don't recommend going through someone with no internet presence.
Are you saying don't go through a third party?
I'm fine going through a third party if you look up that third party.
But you'd rather go directly through the artist so you know they're getting the money.
That's kind of like, if the artist is still alive, they'll probably have some stuff available if you're looking for a thing. But yeah, go to the artist, comicartfans.com, or if you have to go through a different thing, look into their credentials, like they're in feedback, you'll usually find it. I think we've done a question like this before, but screw it. Who would you want to quarterback your team? I guess your team is the Patriots.
Like a comic book?
Yes, not a real person. Tom Brady, he's kind of fictional. He's so good. Best of all time.
Well, those are true. Ooh, that's a tough one. That is a tough one.
I know my answer was immediately. Superman. He's not just fast and strong, but his brain also works at like superhuman speed, so he could definitely work out plays faster than anyone else human could figure them out in the field.
He has his X-ray vision, so he could see through the defense.
He could just throw himself the ball. He could throw it in the air and go catch it.
Or he could win. Or he could just like fly above everybody.
I guess, yeah. He'd just be like, whoop. Don't need the team.
Wow, that's a good question. I'm going to say Batman. He's very cerebral. He does his research. He would know every little thing about the opposing team.
And at least, compared to the Superman argument, at least that'd be entertaining to watch compared to Superman just going like, I win. At least Batman, there would be an ounce of a human challenge.
Yeah, but I think he would be so well prepared because his attention to detail would be perfect.
Here's a relevant one. I think this is based off of the last couple of years of Iron Man. Iron Man was replaced by a 15-year-old black teenager, Riri Williams. The question asked to us, I think that's the context of this, could Shuri become Iron Man when Robert Downey Jr. retires?
I don't know enough to speak to that, but sure.
I say no.
Okay.
Mostly because, and I'm just going with kind of like comic-y references here. The reason that I know the character the best is, a lot of times with all these books, there's like a billion supporting characters, and I usually forget who they are. Shuri has become Black Panther in the books, so I think if she was going to become anyone, I think she would become the next Black Panther. Although I don't know what these people's contracts look like. Unnecessary answer. Where is the Soul Stone?
In a Lego set, apparently.
Yeah, in a Lego set, if you want to know.
I thought it was going to be part of the vibranium mine. It was going to be part of that meteorite that fell.
This is actual conjecture. Because, look, let's just say it's in Wakanda. We basically already know that. That's why I assume that's why Thanos is going there to do that big fight that we've seen in the trailers. I assume this, again, pure conjecture. I bet the Soul Stone's in Wakanda. Let's just roll with that. But I wonder if that's why in the movies they're going to say why they can commune with the dead.
Ooh.
So, I bet it's connected somewhere within the culture that we saw. My guess would be that it's connected to that. if I had to take a stab in the dark versus I could shoot a big laser at you powers.
I like how you just said commune with the dead.
I don't know. What do you want from me?
That's good wordsmithing.
What do you think about the Jar Jar Binks is a Sith Lord theory?
Stupid.
Okay, you've heard this?
Yeah.
I agree, it's also stupid. I 100% agree within canon, if you haven't heard it, it's that Jar Jar Binks is secretly a Sith Lord, controlling everything from the back. That's why, Palpatine came to power when he's like, Misa, let this jackass here!
No, he's so weak-minded that he was manipulated by Palpatine.
I think he's just...
It's an interesting theory, but it never got fleshed out.
It's entirely his fault the galaxy went to shit.
Blame Jar Jar.
Yeah,
definitely.
But
Jar
I don't
Jar.
think he's a Sith Lord.
No.
You said nothing about my impression.
No, I just went right by it. I didn't merit any kind of response.
Can you do better? Jar Jar off.
Misa slap you in the face. Is the people gonna die?
What is the worst and best comic book movie currently? I think I can safely say Howard the Duck is the worst from what we've watched.
The unreleased Fantastic Four.
It's watchable. It's entirely enjoyable.
But there weren't duck boobs in it.
There were no duck boobs in it, that's correct.
Worst comic book hero movie?
The first one that came to mind was Howard the Duck. I'm standing by it. Maybe 2003's Daredevil. It's really bad.
Ooh, I like the 2003 Daredevil.
Oh, boy.
Catwoman.
I never saw it.
You never saw the Halle Berry Catwoman?
I heard nothing good about it.
Or Elektra?
Also skipped that. That was by a Next Generation director. He was a TV guy.
There's quite a few out there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to say Howard.
Spawn?
Yeah, don't watch that movie. It has not aged. Steel! Shaquille O'Neal Steel!
Blade.
No, Blade's fine. Say Blade 3. You might be okay.
Yeah. Terminator Genesis.
It's not a superhero movie, but still terrible.
Best superhero movie?
I think the high watermark is still probably the first Avengers.
Logan's
right up there. What a good movie.
Like for ensemble, first Avengers, but like solo, Logan.
I'll buy it. Here's a quickie that you can't answer. Was that the Wrecking Crew in the beginning of The Punisher? Those guys at the construction scene that got beat up? No. That's my short answer. It's not. They just happen to be guys working in construction scene.
Oh, well, that sucks.
No.
Sucks for them.
What is the character you would most like to see on the big screen? I also feel like we've answered that question before, but I don't know.
That's a good answer. I don't know. That's the
best I don't know if we've answered it before.
Which character would you like the most to see on the big screen?
Tom Brady. He's the best.
I love him.
That's you.
Oh, you'd like to see me on the big screen?
No.
Oh.
If I was going to go with the that's ridiculous and I love it answer, I would go with the Trapster, a.k.a. Paste Pot Pete. If you had a guy just shooting glue everywhere, I'm like, that is absolutely
I'm sure you
insanity.
could find a movie of that somewhere on the internet.
Yeah, well, it's kind of what it looks like. But if I was going to go with a more serious answer, I would probably say Annihilus. He's a big cosmic villain who's he has a crazy design and he's super over the top. He's a big Jack Kirby one. I actually think Kirby only did one issue with him, but still, he's an insane cosmic villain, and I'd like to see more stuff in that direction, more than, I'm fighting an evil version of myself.
You know what I'd like to see on the big screen? Give me some amalgam on the big screen, baby.
Ooh, never. Assassins.
Yes! Ha ha!
What is the best Batman movie? Mask of the Phantasm. I'm not actually that big of a fan of the Nolan ones.
Batman Returns.
What?
Batman Returns is a good Batman movie.
Oh god, that's so cringy. That's such a cringy movie.
You don't like Batman Returns?
Just the I was looking for.
I played this down like a harp from hell.
Oh god, some of those lines. Mostly DeVito.
I think
what's that dumb line about kissing?
I don't remember.
That's how they realize that they're Batman and Catwoman. A kiss is something. I'm like, a kiss has never been that ever. I don't remember off the top of my head.
I like the original Batman, though.
Okay, I'll roll with that.
The first Keaton Batman.
It's not Batman Returns. It's a bad movie.
Batman and Robin.
I would definitely say Mask of the Phantasm. It's my favorite.
Would you put Batman Forever before, above Batman Returns?
No, Batman Returns is better than Batman Forever. Definitely better than Batman Forever.
Tommy Lee Jones is pretty good, though, as Two-Face.
I don't think we talked about
Oh, Happy Day!
On the show, but it came out, I wish we had at the time. It's one of my big regrets on the show, not bringing it up, is it came out within the last year that I guess Jim Carrey was going out to dinner during the filming of that, and he ran into Tommy Lee Jones. He's at the same restaurant he was going to. He was and Tommy Lee Jones's face just fell, and Tommy Lee Jones got up, gave him a big hug, and just said, "I cannot sanction your buffoonery. I hate you."
Wow.
Isn't that the best?
Wow, just because of the way he was in the movie? Or in general?
He just, as a person,
was not
I cannot sanction your buffoonery.
Wow.
I hate you.
But they played together so well in the movie.
No, they didn't.
Come on.
Tommy Lee Jones just spent that whole movie going, Misa Two-Face. Damn it. I guess if I'm doing annoying voices.
Yep.
Okay, last question, and I will feed this to you, see if you can answer it. There is an answer.
I'll try.
There is a right and a wrong here.
What? I didn't study.
Why is DC just starting to build a cinematic universe in the past few years while Marvel's been at it for a bit?
Well, I think a couple of things. DC had put out a bunch. I mean, look at all the DC movies that had come out prior to the start of the MCU.
There's really two answers to this.
And I think that's
partially one of them.
They've already kind of established somewhat of a universe. I mean, you've got all the Batman movies, and you got some other DC movies that kind of matriculate in there, but I think
that's half the answer.
There's half the answer. The other half is...
Do you want me to give you what the half you
missed on?
Honed in on?
Yes.
Half the answer is when Christopher Nolan was doing his Dark Knight trilogy, is that his kind of mandate to DC is that there are no superpowers in this universe, nothing crosses over. So they were kind of pigeonholed to not have Batman be in anything for like 8 years. Other than those. But beyond that, there is a broader answer.
Okay, give me a broader answer.
Okay, do you just want me to do it instead of stabbing in the dark?
Yeah, go ahead.
Warner Brothers.
Okay, because Warner Brothers
is a movie studio. They're not just putting out comic book movies. Marvel Studios is Marvel Studios. They have one thing that they do.
And they do it very well.
Yeah, there's also that. They do it a lot better than Warner Brothers. But Warner Brothers doesn't have an entire studio dedicated to we are just pumping out superhero stuff. That is...
Not even a division.
That's a division at this point. But that is a cog in the overall machine. Versus Marvel is doing Marvel.
And Warner Brothers is probably smart enough at this point to say, we can't go toe-to-toe with that.
Let's see what Aquaman brings us in December. Ways away.
My man.
But yeah, that's kind of the short and long of it. Is Marvel Studios is a hyper-focused studio production, whereas DC is owned by Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers does other things.
Yeah.
Like, they're really banking on Harry Potter again.
Harry Potter made them a crap ton of money the first time.
Yeah, well, now that they're like, Black Panther beat Justice League in a weekend, practically.
Yeah. Speaking of good box office numbers, Jumanji, friend of the show, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, they're almost
close to $1 billion.
It is very close to $1 billion.
Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thought Jumanji?
Jumanji beat Justice League.
By a lot. I'll Redbox that. Not going to theaters for that.
No, but it looks like it's a hell of a lot of fun.
Making money. Making cash.
People like it.
Or at least they're paying for it. I don't know if they like it.
Apparently they like it because they pay for it. Yeah. People are still paying for it.
But yeah, that's the short and long of that. Is Warner Brothers is a studio with many projects, and Marvel is focused on one continuous story.
I like it.
And also that Nolan Batman thing.
That has something to do with it, yes.
Yeah. But yeah, that will do it for our 100th episode. Here's to at least one more.
101, baby. We're setting them.
That is our standard.
One
more.
I'm thinking that
one more.
We banked up more than enough 5 good minutes to last us a while anyway with the Jim Lawson interview. So
yeah, that was 50 solid minutes.
So we're good for another 10 weeks.
Oh, good. Let's produce crap.
All right.
Let's get blackout drunk, and I'll try and edit all those bits out.
How is that any different than a normal show? It's 10:30 in the morning, and we used most of the bottle of Kahlua, so.
And cheap Baileys.
Yeah, why can't you spring for like good Baileys?
It was fine. What's it called, like Ryan's or something? It's fine.
Ryan's is not Baileys.
You know what? This is how we're going out. We're going to fight, huh? Argue our way out of the show?
Yeah, damn right.
Okay, cool.
Okay, where can we go to the store? I'm going to come to the store today and chew you out.
You know what? I got to deal with my shipment, and I've been drinking all morning.
That's your fault, not mine.
Okay. No one needs to know. 210 Water Street in downtown Hollowell, Maine. Find me in this month's Down East magazine. Famous.
It's like two sentences.
And 25% of the information is outdated.
Yes. And the other 25% is false. Your store is not PG.
100% is. If you want to get that adult material, you got to ask for it. It's behind the counter kind of deal.
Hey.
No, but really it is. If you want that, it's weird when people ask for it. Don't ask me for it. But it's,
hey,
it's there.
You're a pusher. You're a provider.
Yes, I am a pusher. EditorsNoteComics.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you want to get the show a whole day early every single week, Patreon.com/EditorsNoteComics, a minimum of $1 a month. How are you going to miss $1? I'll notice it, but you won't miss it. Just give me that little bit of cash. Little something. I'm really losing it at the end of the show. I'm making weird noises.
You are.
What else? You're on Twitter.
@JuniorRich.
If you
just broke 8,000 tweets, baby.
Oh, boy. Yeah, if you want to see someone live tweet a sporting event.
That's me.
Oh, baby. I know where to point you.
I can't wait. I should live tweet some curling tonight.
Yeah, we'll be back next week for the start. Oh, by the way, if you want to get old episodes, I think the hosting site only will do 100 at a time. So,
so
if you
can
want to get the old stuff,
go back to the Sump Pump episode.
Don't do it now. If you want, also don't. But it's there. It will be disappearing soonish. It's on YouTube though, so I guess if you really want to listen back.
Wow, 100 episodes.
98.
Whatever. So in 2 weeks, I'm gonna have a Junior Rich, a Jerry 600th episode extravaganza.
All right, you plan it then.
I will. Last time I planned the show, we got great ratings.
There was a brownout and our sound died.
And we still got great ratings.
We'll be back next week to talk about...
It was like the XFL of the podcast.
What the hell are we talking about next week? I gotta look. We'll be back next week.
Bye!